here for good.
Hobo Day. It is the largest one-day event in the Dakotas, and this most unique homecoming celebration has occurred for more than a century. The annual culmination today, a Jackrabbit football game. It's second-ranked 5-0 South Dakota State hosting 2-3 Northern Iowa. Hi, friends. Tyler Merriam alongside the Hall of Famer Curtis Riggs, and it's great to have you with us. When we say homecoming to a coach, what comes to mind?
Distractions. Yeah, festivities, activities, a lot of people, but a lot of distractions, and mainly for the players.
Jackrabbits are 5-0, coming off an impressive road win last week at Youngstown State to open up Missouri Valley Football Conference play. And they did it despite falling behind 14-0, and did it in a variety of ways. Let's start with the offense, and particularly the performance of running back Julius Loffridge.
Yeah, he's dominant, and he's getting all the stats, but it's the offensive line that is just really imposing their will up front against just about everybody.
Loffridge, again, carried 25 times for 176 yards, as you see, and his 4 touchdowns, one of only 4 Jackrabbits in the Division I era to tally 4 touchdowns in a game. And we're seeing the offensive lineman pull, but on this last clip we're about to see, he just does it with speed, too.
Yeah, and he's not even getting touched till he's 10, 15 yards downfield, and then here he just pulls away from everyone. But a great job with the down blocks and then pulling those big offensive linemen out against defensive backs.
Jacks are without Lofton Ogroski again this week. We talked about Graham Goring a couple of weeks ago with a huge game. Alex Bullock, 10 receptions last Saturday at Youngstown.
Yeah, and you're seeing the separation, the home run hitting ability, but also just the playmaking to alleviate some of that pressure with the Ogroski out.
So Bullock, a huge game. Again, the Jacks are without Ogroski. They'll have he and Goring to lean on as far as receivers are concerned. That's the story for South Dakota State. Curtis, we look at this Northern Iowa team and had a big opening win over Butler with first-year head coach Todd Stepsis, but since then it's been a struggle for the offense. Just 40 points for the Panthers in their 4 most recent games. This isn't a team that's built to outscore you.
Yeah, and I think it was that loss at Utah Tech, talking with some of their staff, that they thought, oof, we got a little ways to go offensively, and they're more of a ground and pound, but they don't really have the horses that they've had in the past.
So the Panthers, who have scored just 1 time in their last 25 offensive possessions, will try to come away with a victory in Brookings on Hobo Day. South Dakota State and Northern Iowa, and it's the homecoming kickoff after this tailgating tip from Build Your Base.
I'm Alex Seinert with Midcoast Sports, here with Holly Swede from the South Dakota Beef Industry Council. Holly, what's on the menu for our tailgate today?
So today we have a balsamic blue cheese steak sandwich, and it's made with a flank steak. So the first thing you need to do is marinate that flank steak because it needs a little bit for tenderization. After you mix the marinade, you add to a food-safe plastic bag, place it in the refrigerator, and let it marinate for about 6 to 24 hours. Take the meat out of the plastic bag and place it on a preheated grill. So now that the beef has reached about 140, 145 degrees Fahrenheit, we're gonna let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. Next, what we're gonna do is slice our bun, use the remaining olive oil, and place it on the grill to brown the bun. Assemble your sandwich with the steak, arugula, and blue cheese, and you're ready to go.
Excellent. Thanks, Holly. For more ways to win at your tailgate, go to beefitswhatsfordinner.com.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium, and moments ago, this was the South Dakota State football team entering the facility. Those are goosebumps, aren't they, Curtis?
Just the whole atmosphere, the crowd, the band, the smoke, the players coming out. It's just a great combination, doing a great job of presentation. Sports has become entertainment just as much with what's going on around the field as what's on the field.
Coaches hate some of that, though, don't they?
Yeah, I can't believe I just said that. Jeez.
We won't hold it to you. Jaden Hodge, 85, back to return. The wind has already blown the ball off the tee for Ryan Harrington. And the wind does tend to swirl here at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium, so something to keep in mind. You'll see some of those jerseys flapping in the breeze today. There's a look at the flag in the northeast corner of the stadium. The ball is blown off the tee a second time. That means a mandatory holder will be called upon. So Bowden Schiller, who made his return last week, the Volga native, just a few miles west of here, will hold for Ryan Harrington. And in front of another sellout here at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium, we are underway. And this is a touchback. So Northern Iowa to begin at its own 25-yard line. The Panthers averaging 15.5 points per game, 329 yards of offense against a Jackrabbit defense, 7th in the nation in scoring, 6th in total defense. SDSU allowing only 17 points per game. Dakota Bank gives you this look at Matthew Sheckelman, the fourth-year junior out of Appleton, Wisconsin. 5 starts a year ago. The regular starter this season, 63% completions. Not much of a runner. He only has 1 rush of longer than 5 yards this year. Fakes a handoff. Sheckelman does try to run on the first play to change it up, and he'll fall forward to the 27. Nick Wells, the first man on the scene for the Jackrabbits, the Sioux City, Iowa native and defensive end.
Yeah, just as you say, he's not much of a runner. They do a design run just for the quarterback there. And, you know, it's probably one that just, hey, let's get a couple yards, get you in the rhythm and pace of the game, get that first hit out of the way, settle the nerves.
Let's look at the offensive line and the backs and receivers. Roque, Kershaw, and Price all have had big years so far for UNI. That's the most talented position group on the offense, the wide receiving core. On 2nd and 8. Handoff and a gain of nearly 5 for Bill Jackson, the 5th-year senior out of St. Louis. He typically gets the first series reps, although he has half as many carries as Harrison Bay Bowie, who we will likely see plenty of as we are coming up on 3rd and 3.
Well, we saw a lot of shifting there. They'll do a lot of that. Every play Coach Bergstrom talked about, that's one of his biggest fears is getting misaligned because of all the shifts.
Look at the Jackrabbit secondary there. Bretts and Lee, the safeties. 3 wides right, 1 left. Jackson vacates the backfield. Now he comes back to Sheckelman. Listen to the noise on 3rd and 3. Blitz is on. Sheckelman hit as he throws, and it's incomplete and nearly intercepted. Brett's 25 and Ullman 11 each had an opportunity at the pick, and instead it's a 3-and-out.
Yeah, and they motion their back out and back in because they want to see what coverage the Jacks are in. They see it's man-to-man. And so all he's doing is reading the defender on the man. He never even looks at the linebacker that's free and just about threw an interception.
Officially a pass breakup for Bretts, his 5th of the year. And Noah Pettinger, a 3-year starter, senior punter out of Dubuque, Iowa. We'll send it off to Miles Taylor. The wind holds this one up as it bounces at the 40. And will be downed at the 39-yard line by Tucker Langenberg. So a punt of 39 yards is all. And the Jackrabbits behind that man, Chase Mason, will take things over. Dakota Bank brings you this look at the 5th-year senior out of Hurley, South Dakota. 3rd in the Valley in completion percentage at 66%. Statistically had his worst game of the year last week, but again led the Jacks back from a 14-0 deficit to win on the road. Pretty impressive stuff. This is the formation that Curtis Riggs loved so much a couple of weeks ago against Mercyhurst. And Loffridge on the first carry. Out to the 43 for a 5-yard gain. Why is that so hard for defenses?
Well, I mean, there was very little adjustment there, too. You know, you almost want to just shame on you. You know, I mean, you saw this on film. And they didn't shift out at all. They need to at least bump a linebacker out. Now they have a safety deep that can come up and help rally to tackle, but you're still outnumbered. And look to the Jacks to come back to that.
Loffridge, number 15, the FCS active career leader in rushing yards to the right of Mason. 3 wides and Gannon split out. Panthers a 4-man front. Mason's pass is caught. That is Goring, and beg your pardon, that's Jack Smith, and he's out of bounds at the 48-yard line for a first down. Smith, the redshirt freshman from Sioux Falls, Lincoln, has really come on with his opportunities here since Ogroski's injury.
Yeah, and they started to cultivate him really early, getting him a few plays. Now it's more and more ready for someone to go down. He's in there. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen Chase unleash that missile there. I mean, I don't think people realize how fast that ball was coming at him.
Dakota Bank starting lineups for UNI. 4-man front right now. They did use some 3-man front looks against North Dakota last week. Loffridge running left, and he'll be ridden down in the backfield. That's a loss of 1. Ryan Crandall, who was at Western Illinois the past few seasons, leading tackler for the Leathernecks a year ago, had 6 stops last week, 2.5 in the backfield, and here's a TFL.
Yeah, and it was a blitz, the blitz that got Crandall there. He just comes in through the backside, and as Chase is trying to read the end, Crandall runs right by it to make the tackle.
There's Todd Stepsis, first-year head coach of UNI, came from Drake, where he led the Bulldogs to back-to-back FCS playoff appearances. And he's just provided a lot of positive energy for this Panther team. 3 down linemen here. Mason off the play fake. He could run. Now he will. And he will be out of bounds on the UNI sideline, just shy of the marker. Mason, for a gain of about 10, sets up a 3rd and short.
Yeah, and because it was 2nd down, people might be yelling, hey, get the first. Smart run, smart job, getting out of bounds, get as much as you can and put yourself in a good 3rd and short.
There's Dan Jackson, the first-year head coach of South Dakota State. He turned 40 in February. Both these guys unique in their position. Stepsis has a lot of unique qualities we'll get into, but both are very well-liked in their respective universities. 3rd and short. Smith, the motion man, and here is Goose. He might be the most efficient player in the nation. Andrew Gustad for the first down. He has touched the ball 6 times this year. 5 carries, all for first downs on 3rd and short, and a touchdown reception.
And mainly it's because no one expects him to get the ball.
Jacks quickly to the line. Loffridge. And not much there. That was very well defended by UNI's Cole Ben Miller, who was starting for the injured Caleb Frazier. Frazier with 31 tackles, injured himself in practice on Thursday, so Miller inserted into the lineup out of Dumont, Iowa, and he comes up with his 9th tackle of the year.
That play, the quick tempo is probably one that they have. When they go for that short yardage play, they come right back with that play, try to get a freebie there, and Northern Iowa played it well.
All right, let's keep an eye on Smith. He is the deep man here in the backfield. Gannon vacates in motion. Mason throws it sideways to Smith, who eschews a tackle, and he's got room. That's a first down for South Dakota State to the 25-yard line of UNI.
Yeah, it's really a difficult choice by Chase because he gets caught in between. Do I run and then the DN flies upfield? Let me just get this out to Smith and let him do the work.
Panthers went 3 and out on their opening possession. Jacks are on the move. The 25 of UNI, sun shining brightly, although it is windy. Shocking it would be windy in October in Brookings. Wide left, Bullock. Wide right is Goring. Loffridge behind Mason in this 2 tight end look. And Loffridge broke through an arm tackle, still going to the 16-yard line. He picks up 9 more before he's finally brought down by Mo Alowo and Jonathan Cabral-Martin.
Yeah, great balance. You see him, he gets that hand out just to save him from falling down right there. And great balance.
Loffridge averaging over 5.5 yards per carry for the year. The Jacks are at the 16 of UNI, facing a 2nd down and short. Inside the Tegra Cooperative red zone for the first time today, Mason will go under center. Bullock in motion, will take the handoff on a jet sweep, and he got turned around. Had no chance there. That's Owen Ostrowski, the 5th-year senior out of Tulsa, who briefly was an SDSU commit last December, who turned things back.
Yeah, and you expect with the line action that he's going to slant down. That's why they run that play. But Bullock could also help himself get just a little bit of bubble to help get around that first defender.
Jackrabbits are up to 38% on 3rd downs. They've been much better the last couple of weeks. They'll need 5 from the 20. 3 wides, Smith and Bullock left, and Goring right. Mason rolling out. And he gets tripped up in the backfield. What a diving play by Crandall. We do have a flag as well. Crandall with his 6.5 tackle for loss. It would be his first sack of the year if it stands. We need to check out the penalty mark.
Well, and I think it's the official ran into someone on the sideline. So if it's a
sideline warning,
yeah.
Northern Iowa, 4th down.
Well, the Jackrabbits gain 9 yards on first down. Then the jet sweep goes awry. Mason goes down in the backfield, and suddenly the Jacks a long field goal try.
Yeah, he just catches his toe, too. A great effort by Crandall to just barely get his toe right there. Boy, and it looked like it would have been a touchdown. Chase might have opted to run for the first down, but he had his receiver down the sideline wide open.
So this will be a 49-yard field goal try. Wind is at the back of Eli Stater. Pelham, the punter, holds. Stater's kick. And it goes wide left, no good. So a promising drive, 2nd and 1 at the 16. The Jackrabbits go backwards on consecutive plays, miss the field goal, and come up empty. No score early on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard.
What is generational success?
Fourth and shorts and going for it in those situations.
2 backs here for Sheckelman. That's Zach Meemert, the up back right. As Sheckelman looks to throw on first down, and it is low and it intercepted. Picked off by Jackson. And Isaiah Johnson inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. First INT for the Chicago Heights, Illinois native and transfer from Bemidji State. Isaiah Johnson has continued to impress this Jackrabbit coaching staff since his arrival.
Well, this is a terrible throw by Sheckelman. I mean, he's not reading the defender. He's seeing that defensive lineman in his face. That right there shows you the value of pressure and how it makes DBs look really good. Because this is covered. I mean, there's Jackrabbits all around that. He needs to be hitting the check down in the flats, but because of that pressure, he just throws at the first thing he thinks might be open there.
Didn't help throwing into the wind either.
I don't know if the wind really mattered. If anything, the DB was saying, hey, get to me here.
Again, Johnson, all-Northern son a year ago at Bemidji State. He's excited. You can understand why. And the Jackrabbits a short field at the 37 of the Panthers. Mason finds Bullock on the near sideline. The pump and go, and Bullock the reception inside the 20, and the Jacks are in business.
Well, and Mason is one of the few quarterbacks that can make this throw. I mean, he fires it in there. The coverage is actually pretty good. Bullock makes a great catch knowing he's about to get hit, too.
They will finally spot the ball at the 18, so it's a 19-yard gain for Bullock in the Integra Cooperative red zone. A wobbly snap. Mason did a heck of a job to come up with it, and hands to Loffridge, who will pick up 3 to the 15.
And you know, you might only be getting 3 right now, but it's going to be a game of you're going to wear them down, and really you can see already the Jackrabbit offensive line starting to take its toll on that Northern Iowa defensive line. They're having to start to slant and blitz just to help slow down the run game. Garcia Castaneda has entered the fray. He joins Smith wide right. Gustad is an up back right. Pika tight end right. Loffridge up the middle. Spins his way inside the 10, close to the first down, but that was nearly disastrous on the snap. Yeah, it did disaster, but blocked very well up front. The linemen don't see what's going on back there. I mean, you know, as far as they know, it's like a clown show back there with the skilled guys. The Hogs up front, though, they're the ones just dominating. The hole was massive there.
There was a peek inside the Jackrabbit coaching booth as Loffridge spins through a tackle. He'll have a first down to the 3. It's 1st and goal. So Loffridge for 5 to convert on 3rd down, and the Jackrabbits again are not messing around as they hustle to the line.
Yeah, that's a great job up front. Loffridge, you see him protecting the ball too. That's an outstanding job.
Loffridge got stood up and didn't gain much. There again, Smith in motion, and the timing is very tight on that. There is Eric Eidsness. He is second from the right as you look at that picture. It is C.J. Pickrell, the furthest away from you, who is one of the quality control men, then Eric Eidsness, then a couple of defensive staffers on the closer half to you in white. But Eidsness, the play caller, is somebody who's been doing this for a long time and is really good at it.
Yeah, he's a great person, great coach. He's been around. He's got head coaching experience. He's got FBS coaching experience. It's really a big addition for Dan Jackson to get him back here.
2nd and goal, Loffridge. And you and I making it hard on South Dakota State right now. Loffridge may have reached the 2-yard line. It will be 3rd down and goal. The Jacks are 2 of 3 on 3rd down so far today.
Yeah, and they're really just pinching down. Everyone's slanting down, really making sure that down block and the guard wrapping around is going to get blown up. Pretty much saying you're going to have to get outside on us.
Jalen Thompson, number 33, the Iowa transfer in as another one of these tight ends. He's in with Pika, Gannon, and Gustad. Mason will keep, and he's in. Took a shot anyway, and the Jackrabbits have the lead.
Well, this is a well-designed play. They outnumber Northern Iowa. They motion out to get the corner out of there. And now you look, they got 3 tight ends and a tackle pulling, and then you got the 225-pound quarterback coming around that every defensive back wants to try to take high and pay the price like that.
That was Fletcher Marshall who hit him, a 200-pound corner, and Mason's 230. Stater, the extra point. He is now 16 of 16 on PATs this year. So the interception by Isaiah Johnson sets up the Mason touchdown, and South Dakota State scores first.
Lucky for us, life.
where is UND at? They've had close games with Kansas State, Montana. They got after this UNI team last week. But Southern Illinois, I don't think that ever surprises anyone because they really bring in a lot of talent on the roster. It's can they get through the entire season in the Missouri Valley?
You feel like UND and Youngstown both are potential playoff teams. One of them is going to be 3-3 at day's end.
Yeah, and you're pretty much saying by that point, you can't afford to lose any more after.
The Harrington kickoff went through the end zone. It did stay in bounds long enough to be a touchback. So it's UNI football when you return. Hobo Day in Brookings and the Jackrabbits a 1-score lead.
Our Peterson reps.
Sports is presented by Sanford Health, the exclusive orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Jackrabbits.
Tyler Merriam, Curtis Riggs, and our entire Midco Sports crew on hand here at Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium in Brookings. South Dakota State out to the early lead on Northern Iowa. And that's remarkable, Curtis. Not only the plays, the Jacks have had 15 plays in UNI territory. The Panthers have had 4 total so far.
Yeah, and the wind is one of those factors. That early punt really maintained the ball on that side of the field.
Harrison Bay Bowie, one of the 2 running backs we told you about, UNI will rely on for a gain of 4. McShane, one of the men in there for the Jacks, along with Jalen Lee on the stop.
One, and they're going to try to run the ball because, one, that's the identity they're trying for offensively, and 2, they want this quarter to get done so they are able to get that wind at their back, be a little more of a threat to stretch the field.
Second down for UNI as it goes into that wind that is 20+ miles per hour. Matthew Sheckelman off the play fake. Feels the heat. Gets away initially and somehow muscled his way past the original line of scrimmage for about 2. I don't know how Sheckelman turned that into something. It'll be 3rd and 4.
Yeah, he did his natural, let me step up, let me hitch, I'll hitch again, and he's trying to take off and run at that part. That internal clock's going off, but the Jacks were there ready for it.
McShane is favoring that right wrist you see on your screen. It got caught up in the traffic there during that run by Sheckelman. So here's 3rd and 4. Panthers have been good on 3rd downs this year, 44%, which is top 25 in the country. Bill Jackson, the running back, to Sheckelman's left as J.C. Roque, the motion man. Sheckelman goes deep. And that ball is caught. Boy, how about the concentration of Tyson Kershaw, the Fort Dodge, Iowa native, who averages 17 yards per catch. That's his 17th of the year and very easily could be his best.
Yeah, beautiful catch. Great concentration. Strong hands because Isaiah Johnson's got great coverage there. And you see him trying to punch the ball out and just can't get to it.
I was going to say, could he do anything more?
Yeah, no, it was great coverage. Just a better catch.
And now we have a stoppage in play.
Northern Iowa, they're first.
So the Panthers take a timeout here. As you see Matthew Sheckelman.
Well, one of it, I think they got caught with a personnel package and they had too many guys. And then the officials went to slow things down. So if SDSU wanted to sub, well, then you started to look, we got too many. Not that we don't have enough, we got too many. So let's just regroup here.
When the Jackrabbits became members of the Missouri Valley Football Conference some 15 years ago, Northern Iowa was the powerful program in this league, one of them. And SDSU and UNI have really had a battle here over the last few years. UNI has won on Hobo Day multiple times in the last decade, but the Jacks have won the last 3. This has really been a fun series to see these two teams battle it out.
Well, you and I were talking before the game, they were always a team, when they stepped off the bus, you're like, whew, boy, we got our work cut out for us here.
From the 38, Babe Bowie got stood up by Joe Ullman and was able to drag him to the 35. Don't see that happen very often. 3-yard gain on first down.
Yeah, and there was very little disguise of if this was run or pass. It was straight run. They weren't hiding that factor. It's just Bo Bowie's getting 3 yards on his own.
2nd and 7 for the Panthers, who, as Curtis alluded to, in no real hurry here. There is Todd Stepsis. Panthers with 2 wides right. Sheckelman on the keep with a good gain. St. Just able to run him down along with Bretz at the 25. That's 10 yards for Sheckelman, his second longest rush of the season. Sheckelman now has almost half as many yards today as he has total net rushing yards on the season, Curtis.
Yeah, and SDSU, they just got caught with the defensive ends going wide outside, creating a big hole. You can't just loop around, especially on run action.
Panthers shift pre-snap to a 4-wide look. Sheckelman will take off again. And he's run down from behind by Logan Green, but after a gain of close to 5. So Sheckelman has been very effective in this game with his feet.
And really what he's doing is it's one read. He's looking at one read. If it's not there, then he's looking to run right away.
Sheckelman had 21 rushes in the first 5 games, and keep in mind, sacks count as a part of that. He's had 5 rushes credited to him in this first quarter, keeping the Jackrabbit defense on their toes. Roque motions. Jackson takes the handoff, and waiting on him was Kobe Claiborne. He never had a prayer. That's a loss of 2.
Yeah, he didn't. You're right. Claiborne's there, and he can't even make a cut off of it. It's almost like Claiborne saying, come right into me here. And there he is at defensive end. You had talked a little bit about that he may start to move out there a little bit more. You see that quickness, that swim move. I mean, that's not just something you're able to practice over and over. I mean, he has got a really good set of tools in that defensive line position.
Dan Jackson spent all week imploring the crowd that arrived here today to make this the loudest game in Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium history. They're making all sorts of noise, and they'll have more time to think about it, because rather than attempt this 3rd down play, UNI lets the first quarter run out.
Well, and that's what they wanted. They were hoping to get a first down to run it out, but now they'll have a big 3rd down with the wind at their back.
1/4 on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard. The Isaiah Johnson INT leading to the touchdown run by Chase Mason, and the Jackrabbits a 7-0 lead.
Here, What's your big picture?
To actually have savings in my savings.
To spend less. Wait, to make more.
Second-ranked South Dakota State, a 7-0 lead over the Panthers of Northern Iowa after 1 quarter of play on Hobo Day in Brookings. The Jackrabbits are 5-0. That's how they've done it, and the 2 road wins particularly impressive.
They are. I think any Missouri Valley win's a great win, but at Montana State, very, very intimidating environment. And then Youngstown State also ranked top 25.
So here is 3rd down for UNI. Sheckelman off the play fake, and he's going to go down. Tripping him up in the backfield was Chase Van Tol, the linebacker from T, who ran down Brungard last week on that long run from the Penguin quarterback. That's Van Tol's 3rd sack.
Yeah, and he has really done a great job of showing he can do all things. He can blitz, he can cover, he can tackle. His athleticism is really showcased what he's been able to do out on the field. He can play linebacker, safety. He can do a lot of different things.
Max Bardacek, 5 of 6 on the year, the junior from Waukee, Iowa. This a 43-yarder, and it is blocked. It is blocked by the Jackrabbits, and it is Cody Cotton, who might be the fastest man on the team, the junior out of Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin.
There's a flag, and I'm pretty sure this flag's going to be for him trying to bat the ball back in bounds. So it's still going to be Jackrabbit football.
Yeah, Cotton tried to save the ball from going onto the SDSU boundary.
Oh, South Dakota State, only a warning. 1st down, South Dakota State.
Yeah. Tyler Downs, the referee who has his own insurance agency, always the salesman. But Cotton is so fast. That ball hit him in the face mask. He had his hands out. You could see the ball hit him right off the yellow face mask.
And I bet if he would have got a hold of that and brought it back in, it's a great effort.
Bardacek, again, just his 2nd missed kick of the season. So SDSU from its own 45. Here's Lawfridge. And he's going to lose substantial yardage. Braden McShane, the redshirt freshman out of New Hampton, Iowa, tremendous sprinter and also a state championship wrestler in high school. And he ends up lassoing the running back down for a loss of 5.
Yeah, great job just stretching it out. Continued. Lawfridge was patient, trying to get there and couldn't find any seam to try to put his foot in the ground and take off.
That is 4 tackles for loss by this UNI defense so far today.
Well, and I think they're taking a lot of chances, a lot of run blitzes, shooting those gaps. I think you'll see SDSU shore up some of those big creases.
Here is James Basinger in to spell Lawfridge. Both Corey Blair, Brendan Begeman out for the Jacks at running back. And Basinger hits the hole hard, runs into a tackle, and gains 5 yards.
Well, and the play was blocked very well. It's just the safety comes downhill and is the one that fills and makes the tackle.
And we have an injured Panther. That is Mo Alowo.
And I think he's the one that was there in the hole for the tackle.
So we'll step aside. Jacks have a 3rd and 10 when you come back, leading 7-0.
I'm your baby, baby bell.
On the Integra Cooperative scoreboard, number 2 South Dakota State, a 7-0 lead over Northern Iowa. It is Hobo Day. For those that are not aware, it's the most unique of homecomings. In fact, one of the traditions is you bury your razor for a month. In fact, the longtime head coach of the Jackrabbits, John Stiglmeyer, still sells essentially coupons to allow you to shave, and all that money gets donated to a local charity. But this is, homecoming's always special, but just has a unique wrinkle around these parts.
Well, and it's still that time where, yeah, we can be excited about getting outside. I mean, 20-mile-an-hour wind. It's still a beautiful day, though, to get out here and watch football and a packed house and very few UNI fans.
3rd and 10, and the officials blow this play dead.
Please put the game clock to 13 minutes and 15 seconds and the play clock to 40 seconds. It will start on my ready for play.
And that can be frustrating for coaches because they have a play called, offense or defense, and you're showing the other team, and now you almost have to start back over again, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, UNI substitutes after seeing what they were about to do there. They changed their personnel because of it.
4 wides in the set. Basinger the back for Mason. UNI has 3 down linemen, and they bring 4. Mason's pass is caught. That's the tight end Delahoyd, who was ridden out of bounds. A late flag back near the line of scrimmage came in from the back of the play. Delahoyd's catch goes for 7. He was 3 yards shy of the line to gain.
I think they might call offensive pass interference here.
Pass interference, offense, number 84. 15 yards penalty, 3rd down.
Well, they're saying it's a pick play is what they're saying. I don't think it was the intent. Well, yeah, that's pretty intentful. Yeah.
Are you surprised here, though? It would have been 4th and 3 just across midfield. And certainly the Jacks did go for it twice near midfield last week. But are you surprised UNI accepted the penalty instead of forcing 4th and 3?
No, I mean, this is a significant one.
Because it's 15 yards.
Yeah, and going into the wind, too. I think there's a lot of things that help you out. Now you got to worry about you getting a penalty, but you just go out and play defense now.
Into the wind on 3rd and long. Mason rolling out. And Bullock, did he get a foot down in bounds? Yes, he did. I mean, he's well shy of the line to gain, but that is an acrobatic catch from Alex Bullock to at least give the Jacks some field position.
Yeah, and it's a nonchalant, let me just fire this in here to you, and Bullock makes a great catch. Look how that thing's tailing upward. Yeah, and gets that left foot down still and controlling the football.
Well, again, part of that is the Jackrabbits, instead of having to punt from back near their own 30, will punt much closer to midfield. And with this wind that Pelham will be dealing with, that's certainly not insignificant.
To 40 seconds. Thank you.
Max Pelham to punt to Max Bartachek. You see the upper half of Pelham. If we get to the lower half of his body, you will note he has 2 different sizes of shoes. He wears a 10.5 left shoe and a 9.5 right shoe, his kicking foot. You can see they're actually slightly different shoes, too.
In 14 seconds.
Yeah, that's not uncommon for kickers. As coaches, yeah, whatever, look like that. Why can't they be the same shoe? But it's tighter, feels like more of your foot kicking rather than feeling something that's a little clunkier that you don't have control with, don't have that feel for it.
You must remember, punters are people too, Curtis. Yeah. Pelham actually leads the nation in net punting at 43.8. The Jacks have covered very well this year. Roque, 6 returns, a 5.5-yard average. Pelham got run into. This kick goes into the end zone for a touchback. Now, there was a Jackrabbit blocking in the middle of that, and the officials did not throw a flag.
Well, and I think they got blocked into it. Yep. Well, one might have, but the other one didn't. I mean, I think you had a chance to err either way, and then when the second defender hits him, you got to throw it.
Well, and the other thing, too, it's hard to say that you were blocked into the kicker when you end up on your back, as the offensive lineman did. It's 7-0 SDSU. Panther ball in a moment.
School is back, and Dimmick Cheese.
This game on Midcoast Sports is presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different.
Let it be noted that the Jackrabbit punt a moment ago was 54 yards with a 4.8 hang time into the wind. I mean, that is the stuff of legend right there.
That's got to be tough. That's going to be tough to catch, too. We're going to see someone struggle with that by the end of the day.
UNI, its first play. Sheckelman hits Jackson out of the backfield. Nice gainer. He's brought down by Joe Ullman at the 29 after a 9-yard gain. 12th reception of the year for Jackson, who played his first 4 seasons at Tulsa.
Gain of 9.
Jacks they're really starting to rotate that defensive line. You're seeing a lot of bodies going in and out.
So 2nd and short. Panthers. Pre-snap shift of 4 bodies. And Jackson didn't get much. Ullman and Dante Johnson, but he got just enough to move the chains.
Yeah, and you love seeing Dante Johnson have zero hesitation. As soon as he sees it, he reacts right away rather than think about it, decide what I should do, then go. That's too late. He instinctively went right away.
So this is Todd Stepsis, and he has
got the cleats on.
Got the cleats on.
Yeah. Wants to feel what it's like being on that turf.
He wore receiver gloves on the sidelines last week. We thought he might do it this week, but you can see the bare hands.
He's got a little Harbaugh in him there.
He is superstitious. The run by Jackson is a good one. Took a big hit from Bretz, but he'll pick up 12 yards and a first down.
Yeah, it was good tackle, but better play. And the same play that Jacks ran for a touchdown, it's just they give to the running back. It's that pin and pull where they'll block down on the DNs and then get that tackle out as a lead blocker.
So Panthers on the move, trailing 7-0. Each team has failed on a field goal. SDSU blocked a UNI attempt where the Jacks simply hooked one wide left. Mason's keeper, the only score so far. Matthew Sheckelman will throw the ball out of bounds on the right sideline. We do have a flag that came in at the end of the play. Jaden Oliver, the 6th-year corner out of Tampa, on the coverage of Tyson Kershaw.
I'm going to wait to hold judgment and see this replay here.
Discretion is always the better part of valor.
I'm holding back here just because I thought the quarterback was really throwing just to throw. I didn't feel like he was throwing to give his guy an attempt to catch it. sometimes those receivers come out of that break zone. That's not a good call. I mean, that's one that's at about a D level. I tell the official there, you got to be better than that.
And Dan Jackson?
Yeah, he feels the same, and he's a defensive guy. He's giving him the quiet treatment right now, though. That's always a good technique.
Harrison Bay Bowie for 3 yards on first down, the 6th-year running back out of Moline, Illinois.
It's the one where you're so mad and frustrated, but so disappointed in the official for that performance that you're just not even going to say anything. Sometimes that hurts even more.
One more note on Todd Stepsis here, Curtis. He and his wife are both huge Cincinnati Bengals fans. His wife, Angie, actually put it in her vows that he could take any job in football except one with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how deep the rivalry with the Steelers and the Bengals go. In the vows, Curtis. 2nd and 7 amid the blitz. Shekelman hits the running back Jackson, who spun through one tackle. Ends up at the 32. It'll be 3rd down and short. Don't you love that?
I mean, that's outstanding research. And I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, are you kidding? Holy moly. You're passing up $5 million a year to...
Well, I mean, in the end, maybe there would be an exception.
Yeah.
You know, if a ranch-style home and maybe a yacht, we'll figure it out, honey. 3rd and 2. Panthers are 1 of 3 on 3rd downs today. They'll empty the set for Shekelman. And now Bay Bowie rejoins him in the backfield. Shekelman on the keep, and he didn't get there. McShane, first man to arrive for the Jackrabbits. Needed 2, got 1, but the Panthers will go for it on 4th and short.
Yeah, they're going to go here, but they use Bay Bowie as kind of a decoy to stretch out the defense, let the quarterback shoot underneath. They'd probably be better served using him as a blocker, though.
Jackrabbits have allowed 3 out of 8 4th down conversions this year. The Panthers are 1 for 4 on offense. On 4th down, Bay Bowie will move the chains. And he just kept going, plowed his way to the 31-yard line. Bay Bowie for 3.
Well, the best thing he did was initially he just dug in behind the offensive line and almost did like a tush push. Just let those guys go, and then he creates spinning off and gets a few extra yards after it.
Well, UNI is just churning this clock. Very poised offensively to the 31 of the Jacks. Trying to tie this game as they march with the wind at their back at around 20 miles an hour. Caden Amagon Suter is the back. Shekelman's pass is caught. Ullman was all over the receiver. That's the tight end Derek Anderson, who made a difficult grab, his 13th of the year, the team captain from Sioux City, Iowa.
Yeah, and a great coverage. I mean, it's just a better catch there. That's a great catch because the throw's actually behind him, and Ullman's there. If the throw's on target, he's probably knocking that down.
Shekelman 3 out of 6 on the day. Meemerd up back right. And Bill Jackson is the running back. Shekelman hits his man Roque, who is so fast, down to the 11. Call it 14 yards.
Yeah, and this is what we hear about as an RPO here. The safety blitzes, though, and leave Shekelman a big window to throw that slant route in that empty window.
Aiden Dodderman had the tackle. Roque had a career-high 10 receptions last week against North Dakota, and he's a little dinged up on the Dodderman tackle. Panthers are in the Integra Cooperative Red Zone. Only 5 touchdowns in their first 13 trips inside the 20 this year. And Jackson dancing around to find a couple to the 9.
Look, they're doing a good job of staying very tight together. Great job of grabbing the defensive lineman and holding him, make sure he doesn't leak through there, but really not leaving much room for the Jacks defensive line to shoot through the gaps.
That was Ullman who ended up on the turf, wrapping Jackson's ankles up to force him down. On 2nd down, Shekelman will air it up to the near side, and it is incomplete. An unlucky combination of 13 versus 13. Kershaw battling Dodderman on the near side.
Well, and a great job getting Dotterman pulling that hand off. You could see the sideline official was ready to throw the flag, but he saw him release that hand off.
Panthers had the ball for just 1 minute and 41 seconds on their first 2 drives. But they have milked the clock on their last 2. That's Brian Bergstrom's forehead you see in the bottom right corner of your screen, the defensive coordinator, who has made his call on 3rd down and 8, UNI at the Jackrabbit 9. Amid a blitz, Sheckelman tried to run out of the pocket and gets brought down. Van Tol again.
Great blitz. I thought at first Sheckelman was going to get away. It looked like he was going to step up and walk right through the pressure. And then Van Tol, who's on the ground, gets up and makes the tackle. And we've seen him do crazy things, jump over someone, go to the ground, get up, make a sack. Here, too, he's down on the ground, is able to get up and make this sack.
Earlier today, Bartoszek had a field goal blocked. This from just beyond the 20, a 30-yard attempt. He got it away, and he connects. The automation engineering technology major, Max Bartoszek, puts Northern Iowa on the board. 7-3, SDSU the lead on the Agtegra Cooperative scoreboard.
This game on Midco Sports is presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University. And by Peterson Farms Seed.
A great day to take in a football game here at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. This game marking the 12th consecutive game in August, September, or October that has been sold out. North Dakota State will come here in a couple of weeks. That game sold out as well. And good numbers so far for those 2 November games. We continue to talk about the crowd and the atmosphere, and there certainly is a buzz about Jackrabbit football, and why not? Caden Pop, an Appleton, Wisconsin native, will kick things off. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda is the deep man. And this ball is through the end zone, touchback. Jacks at their own 25. Chase Mason, the 9AA Player of the Year in high school. His mother, Molly, a basketball player at Sioux Falls. Both of Chase's parents were in town earlier this week. It's Chase's birthday week. He celebrated it yesterday. So you got Hobo Day and your birthday. That's pretty good 24 hours for a starting quarterback. Trying to cap it off with a win today.
And I think, you know, he's good, but he's been better than what people expected this early in the season.
Hand off to Loffridge, and he's tossed down in the backfield. That is a loss of 1. 5th tackle for loss by UNI. You know, and you say that from the outside perspective, I think that's true, but from Eric Eidsness's perspective, I mean, Dan Jackson, they really thought he was the guy and that he is as good as any quarterback they've been around. And what we've seen this year, as you see Eidsness in your picture there, the man in the black, second from the right, you can understand why he was so high on Mason.
Yeah, and they worked so hard to make sure he didn't leave, too. That was one they were able to talk with to not go into the portal and leave like quite a few other players did.
Mason on the rollout. Boy, that is a nice catch and run and a first down for Jack Smith, and you see why the coaching staff likes him so much when he makes a play like that.
Yeah, and the thing you remember about Jack Smith, especially high school, he's like another coach on the field, great football IQ. He's got really soft hands and then can just do a lot of different things. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
And Dan Jackson always talks about the last 4 and the first 4, meaning the last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 of the third. SDSU with the ball here in the waning moments of the second quarter, and they'll have the ball to start the third. Lothridge, broken ankle tackle, and he's got room to move. Lothridge inside the Panther 40. Braden McShane runs him down at the 37 after a 27-yard scamper.
Yeah, and I don't think he realized he had McShane behind him right there. Otherwise, I think he would have probably turned it on a little bit more even. You see he's kind of patient waiting for his blocks here, and then he thinks he's down the sideline by himself.
So from the 37 of the Panthers, it is 1st and 10. Fake to Lothridge. Mason and a wide open Sammy Dressy. First down gain to the 24 of UNI. 13 yards for the redshirt freshman from Wichita, his second reception of the year. Jackrabbits go tempo here.
Really trying to pick up that pace.
Lothridge, big hole. And he's down to the 5. It was Ethan Scoville, the safety from Denver, Iowa, that saves a touchdown as Lothridge goes for 19.
And really good tackle. I mean, Lothridge should make him miss here, but he gives him no chance. Can't even stiff arm him because he shoots right through his ankles.
Lothridge still had the football. 3 officials are talking. Now 2 more have gathered. Not sure what this is all about. We are at our 2-minute timeout, but the officials are chatting about something.
The result of the play is a first down. Sideline interference. Northern Iowa. This is their second of the game. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And that was the discussion. I think it was a confirmation that because UNI had been flagged for a sideline warning previously, the second time around is a penalty. In this case, it's only 2 yards because it's half the distance.
Yeah, and they have a massive big white box on each sideline. They have to be all the way back behind that.
The Jacks are in the Integra Cooperative red zone. They have put 2:08 back on the clock. And look at this. Who's in the backfield? Logan Green. He and Gustad lead for Mason, who reaches the end zone for a Jackrabbit touchdown.
Boy, Ryan Crandall is not loving that Logan Green in the backfield play.
Hey, what do you see a blocking back jump into the air and get lifted up by offensive linemen? That ought to be a replay in the middle of this.
Watch this. He just crushes him. Look at that. I mean, his technique is not good, but he's just saying, I'm bigger, stronger, and maybe even faster, and just takes him for a ride.
Ryan Crandall weighs 223 pounds and is a terrific athlete. Logan Green weighs 290.
Yeah, he had no idea how to take him to. DBs, they can't shoot at their ankles anymore. You used to see they would take them out at the ankles, try to pile things up. That's illegal now. You can't do that anymore.
And again, the best part of all of that was in the celebration. Green jumped into the air and half the offensive line held him up.
Well, they're so sick of going against him in practice. I mean, to celebrate with them is probably something they appreciate.
Well, you know the next thing Green's going to say.
Oh, yeah, give me the ball.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. It's already happening. What's the next play off this, Coach? Yeah.
Well, the Jackrabbits, after giving up the field goal, come right back. Lothridge got it started on the ground. Had 2 big runs in this march. There's the second one. capped off by Mason's second rushing touchdown of the day. And the knockdown by Logan Green. Dan Jackson, a happy camper.
Yeah, and Loffridge has that innate ability of, he makes things look very effortless and easy, and I always think those are the good ones. The good ones that make it look like they're not laboring and everyone else is working really hard.
All right, so we just saw Chase Mason on the phone and then Eric Eidsness on the phone. So you have the offensive coordinator talking to the quarterback. What's that conversation like?
Happy birthday, dude. Yeah, congratulations. I mean, they're going through what reads did you see, anything catch you by surprise. Here's what I'm looking at for the next drive. Here's some things we can come back with, some play action. Any of those, it's just about staying on the same pace, the same rhythm, as no matter what they're going through.
Can I check with some of your former players how many times you said happy birthday to them in the middle of the game?
Yeah, that would be a short conversation.
Jaden Hodge, number 85, is deep. Because the ball's blown off the tee, Bowden Schiller will hold it for Ryan Harrington. The wind will hold this up. And that's a live ball. Hodge picks it up inside the 10, and Cody Cotton hangs on and rides him to the turf near the 12-yard line. Cotton, who might be the best special teamer the Jackrabbits have, had the blocked field goal, and then he's the fastest man when it comes to getting down on kick coverage. So we're at our 2-minute timeout. South Dakota State a 14-3 lead on Hobo Day.
What is generation?
Coming up at the break, we will meet a Jackrabbit who really is as well-rounded as they come around these parts. And then a wonderful piece by Josh Muntz, who, as a matter of fact, earned a Distinguished Alum Award from the College of Journalism earlier on today on campus. A terrific producer at Midco Sports, and he put together a package that you'll get to see on the history of the head coaches here at South Dakota State. We'll have all that, plus your Avera highlights and stats coming up in 1 minute and 58 seconds of game time. Now, you may be wondering, why is Ryan Harrington back on the field? You didn't miss any action. After we went to break, there was a flag that was thrown late, and it turns out the Jacks were flagged for an offsides penalty on the kickoff. And so because of that, UNI chose to take the penalty, and despite all the effort SDSU made on that previous kickoff, it goes for naught.
Yeah, and it was a great kick, hanging it up in that wind, letting it fall short of the goal line. Tough one to catch.
So Harrington opted not to have the hold. Again, you're allowed to try it, and then eventually you have to have a holder, and I don't know why Harrington even bothered to try it without Bowden Schiller.
Yeah, you just prefer not to, but yeah, everyone else is thinking the same thing as you.
This is the tradition in the student section to take off a shoe for the kickoffs. Curtis does it up here. We'll get him some odor eaters for the next game. Well, appreciate you being a part of the festivities.
There's got to be a sponsorship on that, doesn't it? Come on.
We'll work on that. Two Panthers bump into one another on the return. And ending up with it for UNI was Caden Amagon-Suter, the running back from Columbus Junction, Iowa. St. Just on the coverage.
You see when that ball hangs up in the air like that, the confusion. I mean, not sure, should I get it? Is he going to work up here and get it? It's going to be a problem throughout the day.
(14-3) Jackrabbits, and again, SDSU won the toss and deferred, so it'll be Jackrabbit ball when the third quarter begins.
Catch signal by the receiving team. The ball will be placed at the 17-yard line. First down.
As Tyler Downs, our white hat, something on the receiving team. We didn't get a...
58 seconds. Thank you.
I believe he said fair catch was signaled by somebody on the receiving team. I think is what he said, because that was where the catch was made at the 17-yard line, so the ball got moved backwards.
Yep, there you go.
Matthew Sheckelman, the fourth-year junior, 6'3", 210, the quarterback. Screen to Jackson. For a couple of nice moves, then gets brought down from behind. Running him down was Dawson Ripperda after a gain of about 13.
This was executed extremely well. They've got the guys out there to block. They just miss, and then the running back does a great job making defenders miss.
Sheckelman threw it behind Anderson,
nice
who makes the catch in heavy traffic to the 36-yard line for 8 more.
I mean, that's a huge catch right there. The stats would never show that, but that was a big one.
Anderson's second grab of the day. Panthers in the no huddle. They do have 2 timeouts. Catch made by Roque. McShane brings him down to the 43. That's 7 yards and a first down. So UNI close to midfield. Wind at its back. 1:23 and 2 timeouts at its disposal. McShane, the blitz straight up the middle, forces Sheckelman out of the pocket. And he gets out of bounds to stop the clock after a 6-yard gain. Miles Taylor, the corner from Gilbert, Arizona, brought him down, but Sheckelman's been active with his legs in this first half.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job having that internal clock. He's checking one read. If it's there, I'm throwing right away. If it's not, I'm not going to scan this coverage. I'm going to just try to get something.
Well, UNI trying to get something before half here, knowing the Jackrabbits have the ball to open the third quarter. Amagon Suter, the third back, is alongside Sheckelman, and he'll check down to him. And the ball came out at the end of the play, and South Dakota State has it. It's Joe Ullman who comes up with it. Ullman, who had 3 forced fumbles in the first 3 games of the year, recovers the drop by Amagon Suter.
Well, I was just going to say, what a great job by Isaiah Johnson, bending back, not letting his zone get exposed, and then rallying up to tackle. And you see, as he's going, oh, it actually was punched out. I didn't see someone came up and had that punch technique.
Here's another look, Curtis. Johnson held him up, and it was McShane.
Yeah, McShane comes in with his good hand, gets the good hand in there, and punches that ball out.
Is it true the best linebacker? There's the reaction of that Jackrabbit coaching staff. Do you buy that the best linebackers played running back in high school?
No.
You don't like that?
I buy that the best linebackers were the craziest guys that just have no fear to be able to go into anything.
Well, there they are, McShane and Ullman exchanging fives.
Well, one, he's playing linebacker, and he's got that just massive cast on his. It's got to hurt every time he goes in to tackle somebody, and they continue to do it. An offensive guy would be like, no, thank you.
Again, we saw McShane get dinged up earlier today, and that cast on his left wrist, the result. Boy, did he keep his foot in bounds. Jack Smith having a half here.
Yeah, and a late hit on the quarterback here, too. You see the arm strength, though, by Chase here.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 55 with a low hit. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
This is a quick turnaround for UNI here. Things were going pretty good for them, and now all of a sudden disaster's happening.
Owen Ostrowski, number 55, called for hitting Mason Lowe. Now, one thing to keep in the back of your mind, the Jacks are going into that stiff breeze of over 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, that really affected Chase throwing that ball over there. I mean, he just whistles right through that.
Mason throws short, and that is a heck of a hit on Basinger. He got leveled by Jonathan Cabral Martin, the Lynbrook, New York native and fifth-year senior corner. And the Jacks will take their first time out.
And that's a good example of Chase thinking of, hey, just run the play here instead of thinking clock management play. Clock management play would have been so much better to probably run a little bit more, see if there's anything else, throw it out of bounds, because that 2 yards isn't that significant here for him.
Going back to our point about the wind, I don't think anything affects Chase Mason's throws. It might affect the kicking game. So
yes,
positioning for field goals, that's where it could become a factor here late in the quarter. But you're right, Chase Mason faster than a speeding bullet on those.
It's just so nonchalant too, and it's from, you know, weird angles. You see the baseball.
Yeah.
You know, that part of him making throws in different body positions. He's able to translate that into football too.
At the 32-yard line.
They're doing the Macarena. So at the 32, it's 2nd down and 8. Mason's pass is caught inside the 20 to the 19. It is Smith again for 13 more.
Yeah, he's having a great day. I mean, him and Mason look right on par. I mean, great timing between the two of them. Blitz, big blitz.
And Mason goes down. Got the jersey pulled on from behind and just threw off his balance. And the Jacks have to call their second timeout.
Yeah, this really is too where what you brought up, the point is now they really got to think about, let's try to get in closer field goal position. Yeah, we want to score, but we also want to make sure that we're in closer field goal position.
You see the offensive lineman, and one of the men in that mix, number 73, is Nate Adams. And we talk about this being Hobo Day and how individuals are supposed to let their beards grow. Check this one out, Curtis. Nate Adams, he has not shaved in 7 years. He has a girlfriend who is in music business at Belmont. Her name is Tessa. They've been dating for 6 years. She has never seen him clean shaven.
He's going to shave at some point, and she's not going to recognize who he is. You know,
maybe
it's going to be in their vows. You have to have the beard.
Not only that, but a newspaper writer in Honolulu, Hawaii, when Adams was a member of the football team there, nicknamed him the human sunblock. Mason looks to throw. And he will go down again, protected the football as Cole Ben Miller sacked him. That is Northern Iowa's 3rd sack. The Panthers have 7 tackles behind the line of scrimmage today.
Yeah, I haven't watched to see what exactly they're doing that's creating so many issues for SDSU, because these don't seem like anything that fancy, but just sheer effort being better on their part.
And one thing we must keep in mind here, the Jacks are getting ready for a 3rd down, and it'll be close to 18. Where the ball is right now, this would be approximately a 45-yard field goal into a very stiff breeze.
Yeah, I'm not sure you would continue on with that. What they're doing is they're getting the penetration in the backfield, making Chase have to step up, and then some of them are just staying right there at home, waiting for him to have to come up and run, coming off their blocks and making the tackle.
So this will be an interesting play call here on 3rd and long, because like we said, typically you'd be setting up for a field goal as you see Eric Eidsness communicating. Remember, he can press that button and talk to Chase Mason until they get to 15 on the play clock. Incomplete, knocked away by Joe Hall III.
Yeah, and once again, because he had to step up, now he takes half the field away. He's only got 2 guys to throw to, and they're covered very well.
Well, the Jacks will try the field goal. That is Eli Stater. Stater's long this year is 36. He did hit from well beyond 50 during his time at Northwestern College of Iowa multiple times. Into the wind. And Todd Stepsis took the timeout before the kick, which Stater had enough distance on, but was wide. Essentially a practice kick for Stater as the Panthers take a timeout.
Gives him a nice little feel for where he was going and how much he needs to put into it.
The aileron, as they call that, the piece of fabric on the top of the goalpost. There's the flag in the northeast corner. So again, you look there, and the flag is starched in Stater's face, but the ailerons on top of the goalpost actually look like they're going to push things a little bit in favor of Stater.
Yeah.
There's a great look at that. The swirling winds of Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. Stater from 45. The operation is clean, but that thing died of exhaustion before it got to the back line.
Yeah, and I don't think he hit it very well either, so it was a bad combination there.
And I'm a little surprised you and I didn't have somebody back there.
Well, yeah. I think sometimes you just think, though, too, when it crosses that goal line, let's just let it be dead. But, yeah, I mean, that's a good point, because with this win, this is something you could see happening.
Came up just a little bit short of the
Well, as bad as things got there for UNI, they find a way to kind of get themselves out of it. And that's kind of how this half has gone. I mean, it seems like it's been a total domination by SDSU, but still only up 14-3.
And UNI is content with a 14-3 deficit. Well, the Jackrabbits with 22 more yards in that first half. But UNI hanging around, and it's 14-3 at the break. Jackrabbit head coach Dan Jackson chatting with one of the officials. And when this conversation wraps up, then we'll hear briefly from the head coach. Dan Jackson with us, Coach. Just impressions of the first 30 minutes for your squad?
Yeah, just need to be cleaner on first down. We need to get drives started on offense, and then we need to not allow them to get any yards on first down for them. Those are just huge critical plays. You know, when you start looking at them having some third and mediums and manageables, they're in different calls on offense. And then it just rhythm, you know, for our offense.
Coach, appreciate the time. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Dan Jackson with us. Halftime score, number 2 South Dakota State leading Northern Iowa on Hobo Day. The Jackrabbits with a touchdown in each quarter. Chase Mason, both of them on the ground, and a 14-3 lead over the Panthers at the break.
It's Taco John.
Presented by South Dakota State University.
14-3 South Dakota State leads Northern Iowa on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard at halftime. My friends Tyler Merriam, welcome back to Dana J. Dykal Stadium. It's homecoming, Hobo Day here on the SDSU campus, an opportunity to celebrate all the things that the alums love about SDSU. And there is a current Jackrabbit who really is making her mark as she's involved in so many things that, well, let's let her tell you about it.
I'm Katherine Klein from White, South Dakota, and I'm studying entrepreneurial studies at SDSU. I decided to come to SDSU because it's kind of always been like a family thing. My mom works here, my uncle was one of the past presidents, both of my sisters came to SDSU and a whole bunch of my cousins, so it kind of just feels like a family tradition to go to SDSU. The cool thing about the entrepreneurial studies track is there's people from all different areas kind of studying the same thing and coming together. There's people who are like cosmetologists and they're, wanting to own their own salon. There's angel investors who want to kind of learn about how starting businesses work. As an entrepreneurial studies, you have to have a minor. I started off with just a marketing, so then I decided to add an advertising minor because the advertising minor and the marketing minor kind of tie in really nicely together. I love the business professors. It's really nice because they're all very welcoming, and I'm a student ambassador for the Nest School, so I spend a lot of time in Harding Hall. So throughout that position, I've been able to get to know a lot of the professors. Now when I go and I take their classes, they already know who I am, so we kind of have that connection already. I think coming here has helped me learn a lot of time management skills, kind of learning how to manage being involved with things outside of classes. Say yes to the opportunities, say yes to the different adventures or the different clubs or anything that is offered here. I did do a study abroad last year actually in Vietnam. It was a really cool opportunity because I knew Vietnam wasn't one of those countries where I would just choose to travel to by myself. I think one of the coolest things is Statathon, which is one of the organizations that I'm a part of. I really like doing the social media and kind of the marketing side of being able to help get kind of the ideas and words out. It's a really cool organization because it is all about giving back. Last year on the Hobo Day committee, I was the Bum Over and Bum Fire coordinator. I was on the events team and I got to coordinate those two events. It's been really cool to get to help be a part of the largest day in the Dakotas. You can choose to spend all of your time in your dorm or just kind of keeping to yourself, or you can choose to go out and make friends and start networking and just build this community of people who have similar passions to you and similar interests.
And as always, you can find out more about everything happening here on the campus of South Dakota State University by logging on to sdstate.edu. When our halftime show continues, a look back at the rich history of head coaches in Jackrabbit football annals. We'll do that in just a moment. 14-3, South Dakota State leading Northern Iowa on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard.
In this
Welcome back to halftime in Brookings. The Jackrabbits an 11-point lead at the break over the visiting Panthers of Northern Iowa. It's an opportunity for us on Hobo Day not only to honor the rich history and tradition of SDSU as an institution, but also the football program. And here's a special look back at all of the head coaches who have led Jackrabbit football from where it was to where it is today.
South Dakota State University was founded as the Dakota Agriculture College in the Dakota Territory back on February 21 of 1881. Bert H. Morrison is credited as the first head football coach at State. He previously was the manager of the football program at the University of South Dakota. And he, along with L.L. Gilkey, J. Harrison Werner, and William Blaine, were all one-season coaches. Next came William Janot, Jason M. Saunderson, Fred Johnson, and Harry Buck Ewing. World War I put football on hold in 1918, and then came the first well-known coach of the Jacks, Charles C.A. Jack West, who coached his teams to 11 North Central Conference titles, 3 at SDSU, and then 8 at the University of North Dakota. West left the college ranks in 1946 to become head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in what is now known as the Canadian Football League. Cy Casper played college football at the University of Notre Dame under head coach Knute Rockne, and Rockne pushed Casper to take the head coaching position at the University of Wyoming, but he declined to SDSU's benefit and became the Jackrabbit head coach instead. Red Threlfall served as the head coach at State from 1934 to 37. He also would go on to be the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Jack Barnes was a standout halfback at Drake, and he resigned his coaching position at SDSU to return to Des Moines and enter private business. Thurlow McCready served as the head coach and athletic director at SDSU and then Kansas State. He went on to become the assistant commissioner of the American Football League and then executive director of the American Basketball Association. The second longest head football coaching tenure at South Dakota State belongs to Ralph Ginn. He coached teams to 9 North Central Conference championships in Brookings and turned the Jackrabbits into a perennial winner in the 50s and 60s by installing the T formation on offense. Additionally, the Ralph Ginn Award for Coaching Excellence has been given out annually to a former Jackrabbit since 1972. Dave Cragthorpe played 1 season for the New York Giants in the National Football League and began his coaching tenure as an assistant at SDSU before being promoted to head coach in 1969. He later served as offensive line coach and offensive coordinator at Brigham Young University under his former Utah State University teammate Lavelle Edwards, who remains one of the most successful college football coaches of all time. Dean Pryor played his college football at the University of Arkansas. He participated in the 1952 Decathlon Olympic trials, finishing in 8th place before he served as SDSU head coach. John Gregory went on to coach the offensive line of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for 6 seasons, and Winnipeg won the Grey Cup in 1984, due in part to Gregory's offensive line that helped set a CFL single-season rushing record. And in 1995, Gregory built an Arena Football League expansion team in Des Moines, Iowa. Gregory coached the Iowa Barnstormers to 5 division titles in 6 seasons and led them to 2 Arena Bowls, thanks in part to quarterback Kurt Warner. Gregory was the commissioner of the National Arena League during its first season as well. Wayne Hensel was selected by the New York Giants in the 1958 NFL Draft. That was after an All-American career as a football player for Ralph Ginn at State. He spent nearly a decade on Gregory's staff as an assistant before being promoted following Gregory's tenure. Mike Daly was an assistant coach at South Dakota State in the 1970s and returned to Brookings to serve as the head man from 1991 until 96, leading the Jackrabbits to 6 winning seasons. His tenure is partly memorialized by the addition of the iconic checkerboard end zones. That all started when SDSU Director of Athletics Fred Oyen and V.J. Smith, another administrator, visited the University of Tennessee and Athletic Director Doug Dickey. And they said if they can have checkerboards in Knoxville, then why can't we do it with yellow and blue? The title for longest tenured and most decorated head football coach at State belongs to John Stiglmeyer, who served a total of 26 seasons, compiling a record of 199 and 112. Jimmy Rogers played for SDSU in the late 2000s, leading the Jackrabbits to their first Division I FCS playoff appearance in 2009. As head coach of his alma mater, he led the program to its 2nd straight FCS national title, and he's currently the head coach of the Washington State Cougars. And finally, Dan Jackson, who played for South Dakota State in the mid-2000s. His first coaching opportunity came in 2012, right here at SDSU. He spent the next 7 seasons serving in multiple roles as the team's cornerbacks coach, special teams coordinator, recruiting coordinator, and assistant head coach. He went on to spend 2 years with the Northern Illinois Huskies, 2 more as secondary coach for Vanderbilt in the Southeastern Conference, and then served as Idaho's defensive coordinator last year in Moscow. And on New Year's Eve of 2024, Jackson officially became the 22nd head coach of the South Dakota State football program.
Great to remember the likes of Ralph Ginn and those with great nicknames like Diesel and Hawkeye and Stig, and then, of course, current head coach Dan Jackson, whose team is 5-0 and leading Northern Iowa at the half by a margin of 14-3. The Hall of Famer Curtis Riggs rejoins us with his thoughts on the first half, highlights and stats when you come back to Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium.
You.
Jackrabbits with an 11-point lead over the Panthers of Northern Iowa at halftime on Hobo Day in Brookings. Alongside the Hall of Famer Curtis Riggs, I'm Tyler Merriam. It's great to have you with us. Interesting first half, how this thing played out. SDSU with an 11-point lead. Your thoughts?
It's kind of been that how the Jacks have played here at home. It's that bend but don't break. Seem like you're dominating, but letting the team kind of hang around. I think they'll continue to impose their will. I think they're just better in the trenches, and look for them to get Loffridge going again in the second half.
Well, let's look at how we got to this point. Our Avera Orthopedics first half highlights, and it starts with who else but Chase Mason on the ground.
Yeah, and you're starting to see them incorporate him in that running game down in the end zone, that goal line package.
Tyson Kershaw, that sensational 31-yard grab, set up UNI's only score of the half, the Max Bartochek 30-yard field goal to put the Panthers on the board, but the Jackrabbits come back. Loffridge with the long run to set up Mason's second touchdown run.
Yeah, and you saw that drive that UNI did get. That was the one they could complete. They haven't been able to get any others since then.
And then Logan Green, the defensive tackle, barreling over a UNI player on the block. And the Jackrabbit defense in the first half comes up with 2 turnovers.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. They got them early. You saw UNI get some momentum, though, in the second quarter, especially with the wind at their back. They started to have a good mix of some run and some quick passing game.
Jackrabbits got to the quarterback, Sheckelman, multiple times, and then here's Johnson holding it up for the punch out by McShane. Ullman comes up with it as the Jackrabbits turn UNI back near the end of the half. In South Dakota State with the 11-point lead. Numbers that stand out again. These two teams defensively, I mean, look at UNI, 7 tackles for loss. They've held their own on that side of the ball.
Yeah, that's been probably the most frustrating part for the Jackrabbits is that quick pressure. I mean, and it's pressure that's making Chase have to step up, and then their interior D linemen are just sitting and waiting for him. They've done a nice job.
Those are our first half stats, and now let's take a look at how the rest of the Missouri Valley Football Conference is doing. South Dakota wins on the road at Indiana State. That was a struggle, though, and Phillips over 30 carries again for the Coyotes.
Yeah, and as you and I were looking at the stats, so they had 45 minutes time of possession, so they dominated the game, but the score would not show that.
And Southern Illinois and North Dakota State in a top 10 battle. The Bison just kicked a field goal to tie that game. That is late in the second quarter. And UND, an impressive start at home against a good Youngstown
Well,
team.
and everyone's asking, how good is UND? How good is Southern Illinois? Well, I think they're showing they're for real.
This is the fun time of year where those questions start to be answered, and we're learning more and more about these teams. Murray State will be the Jackrabbit opponent on the road next week. SDSU will make its first trip to Murray, and they host top 10 Illinois State later on tonight. The pride of the Dakotas is getting ready for the second half, and you should too. South Dakota State leads Northern Iowa 14-3. Jacks will receive the second half kickoff on the other side.
Thanks for watching the Jackrabbit Halftime Show, presented by South Dakota State University.
It could happen.
Standing sports rivalry, and no rivalry compares to North Dakota versus Minnesota.
This fan base is ready. The moment is here.
On October 17th and 18th, the next chapter of college hockey's greatest rivalry will be written at the Ralph, live on Midco Sports.
And this trickles across.
Coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Central on Friday and 6 on Saturday. Don't miss a minute of the best college hockey on TV.
Dana J. Dykow Stadium in Brookings, the place to be on this Saturday. The homecoming tradition that is Hobo Day. And it wraps up with this football game. The Tucker Kraft jersey. Tell you what, Tucker Kraft, Dallas Goddard, some Jackrabbits making hay in the National Football League at the tight end position.
And they look good.
Yes,
they look really good.
Yes, they do.
The Eagles have kind of all of a sudden found gold with this quick little shovel pass they've been doing to Dallas Goddard. He's making the most. I've seen him get 3 touchdowns here recently just with that quick little gimmicky play.
They have learned what Eric Eidsness learned after a time with Goddard. Just get him the ball. Don't be worrying about this great pattern, that just shovel him the football and let him do the rest.
Yeah, and it's the same with Kraft, too.
Yeah, it certainly is. Of course, Kraft would take snaps under center at times during his tenure at South Dakota State. Caden Pop will perform the kickoff. We'll see if the ball stays on the tee for him. That is Dan Jackson, the head coach of South Dakota State. It's amazing, Jimmy Rogers had a heck of a career at South Dakota State, but John Stiglmeyer never played in college. Jackson played a little at SDSU. In fact, made the last tackle in SDSU's first ever Division I football game. Now, the Jacks were down by 8 scores at that point. But didn't even finish out his time. Didn't even finish out his time at SDSU. Ended up graduating from the University of Nebraska at Omaha. So it just goes to show you how interesting it is. And we've seen examples of that Charlie Weiss and some of these guys who, you don't have to be a standout football player to be a very good head coach, as the likes of a John Stiglmeyer can prove.
Well, once you're able to kind of get your foot in the door, then you can showcase, hey, I work really hard, great understanding of the game. I'm willing to put in the time. Those are the things that will move you on.
There's Chase Mason's numbers in the first half. How did you think he performed in the first 30?
Good. I thought he played well. I thought he did a great job taking care of the football. The pressure's kind of getting to him. We haven't seen him really take off. He's playing safe with how he runs also.
Sun has receded behind the clouds as we start the third quarter. Mason on the move, a pump fake, and he'll run out of bounds after a couple. Mason's unique too in that a lot of times when quarterbacks get to moving their feet a lot, you want to call them happy feet, but he actually seems to be in more rhythm when he's kind of bouncing around on the balls of his feet. Wouldn't you agree?
And he can throw with his feet offset because of the strength of his arm. You don't want him doing it all the time, though. You don't want him to develop that habit. Do it when you need to, but let's try to really get a rhythm in your throw.
Good throw, but, right?
Yeah,
that's what you say as a coach.
Don't do it again.
2nd and 7, Mason under center Shane Willenbring, who was the Missouri Valley Offensive Lineman of the Week. And Lawfridge trying to get around the left edge, and he will not make it back to the line of scrimmage. That was Jackson Storts, the defensive tackle out of the northwestern Milwaukee area, making 8 tackles for loss by this Panther defense.
Well, Storts just, he beats Willenbring, crosses his face and gets the penetration in the backfield and is able to get to Lawfridge. There's no double team action there. It's I got to cross your face, beat you. He, though, gets there first before Willenbring.
So Mason with a 3rd and 10. Jacks were 3 of 6 on 3rd downs in the first half. Panthers 3 down linemen. They come with 5. And Mason threw it too far out in front of Bullock. Bullock had stopped, and so you don't know for sure if he was supposed to keep going or Mason threw it too far out in front. Either way, they weren't on the same page, and it's a punt.
Yeah, and he settled for the first down, and it looked like Chase, well, part of it is he has a defender falling right at his legs. The guard's getting pushed back into him a little bit. That's going to throw that off a little too, but Bullock, I think, settled for the first down, which he probably should have. Chase is going over there saying, hey, that's my fault on that one.
So Pelham will punt. Tell you what, if you're Northern Iowa, when you made that turnover and it was 14-3 SDSU late in the first half, you felt like you were up against it. To have forced the missed field goal and now a 3 and out, the Panthers have to be ecstatic. And they block the punt. It's still free. And the Panthers have it. Braden McShane, the redshirt freshman from New Hampton, Iowa, was the first man there for the UNI Panthers.
Well, this is the worst thing ever for a punter. Max Bell, I mean, watch the shot he takes here. His legs out there exposed, and boom, right on the shin. Oh.
And again, if you block the punt, you can make contact with the punter, in case anybody's wondering.
Yep.
Well, again, how about Northern Iowa here? I mean, we thought SDSU was on the verge of blowing this thing open late in the second quarter, and UNI with a 1st and 10 at the 12.
Well, and they're doing a lot of the little things. I mean, they're doing a lot of the little things, getting those stops. They're able to find a way on special teams, and now can they get the ball in the end zone, which they've struggled to do.
So on 1st down. A trick play blows up in UNI's face, and Jalen Lee, the interception of the pass thrown by Aiden Dunn.
You know, I mean, this is great for the Jacks. It's a reverse pass, but it's covered. I mean, it's covered the whole way. As he gets the ball here, it's covered, it's covered, it's covered. Throw it away is what the coach is saying. The best thing he probably did was after he threw that, he goes running through the bench area to the back of the bench and sits down because he knows he made a bad choice.
It's worth pointing out that's Aiden Dunn, who is the backup quarterback for UNI. They have moved him to wide receiver because of injuries at that position. So he is the traditional number 2 quarterback. But regardless of your position or number, that's a mistake.
Even more inexcusable.
14-3 Jackrabbits on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard.
School is back.
This game on Midco Sports is presented by Sanford Health, the exclusive orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Jackrabbits.
14-3, South Dakota State leading Northern Iowa. There's always more to things than meet the eye, and that is certainly the case for number 88, Grayton Gannon. That is he and Hadley, who is a track and field athlete at SDSU, and their son Wrigley. You will see last week when Gannon caught a touchdown against Youngstown State, he did the rock the baby cradle move. It wasn't just to celebrate a touchdown, it was to honor Wrigley, who was born just over a year ago, September the 24th of 2024. And so you talk about all the things you juggle as a student athlete, Grayton Gannon being a dad as well. 2-yard gain for Lawfridge. So Gannon is sitting here trying to be a student athlete and worry about everything in the classroom, worry about being a good football player, which he is, and oh, by the way, being a dad too.
You know, it's those factors of us as fans. You just don't know. We really don't. Every player has their own story, and that's where I think SDSU does a great job trying to share some of this stuff of what the players are going through, what's their background, where they come from, because they all do. They all have a different story.
So 2nd down and 9. That was a yard on 1st down for Lawfridge. They'll go back to him again. And you and I stood him up. Now the pile gets going. Those 605 Hogs get to shoving him forward. Hagan and Adams, the bearded wonder, and Christensen all trying to push Lawfridge forward for a couple of yards there.
Well, and that's the 2nd time he came back to that play, Coach Eisness did, and it's something they see they should be doing there, but they're struggling to execute it. I mean, UNI's doing a nice job of stretching out that stretch zone and not giving a lane for Lawfridge to be able to cut up field.
Jacks went 3 and out on their first possession in this half. Then after the turnover, trying to avoid going 3 and out again. Panthers an all-out blitz. Mason hangs in and threw it behind Bullock, who couldn't keep his feet, and the Jacks with back-to-back 3 and outs offensively to open this 3rd quarter.
Well, and he throws this one sidearm. That's part of it. You'll watch, he comes in with a sidearm approach there, and Bullock falls coming out of his break too. And again, you saw the frustration with the both of them of the timing and where it should be thrown at. He took a shot after that hit too.
McShane, who blocked the previous punt, went to the tent to get checked out. Pelham, who has taken hits on 2 punts today. Remember, there was a flag not thrown when he got bumped in the first half. And he got leveled on the block a moment ago. He gets this one away, had his foot grazed, and no flag there. It's not a great kick. It actually touched a Panther, then it went out of bounds.
Yeah.
Once it touches a UNI player, that ball is open to be recovered, but it did not stay in play. And the Panther whom it touched got hit on the backside, and he is still down over there on the UNI sideline. Here's another look.
Yeah, it gets him, but it is out of bounds. But the more pressing thing is UNI's found something on the punt team. I mean, that's it. They just about blocked that one too.
K.O. Wallace was the man who got hit by Matt Gehring, the linebacker. Gehring was diving, trying to keep the ball in play, and ended up in the process, although he wasn't trying to hit Wallace, he leveled him in the small of the back, and you can see Wallace just trying to get his breath on the sideline.
And Gehring's about 225, 230 pounds, too.
I know it didn't happen a lot, but as a quarterback, once in a while, you take a hit to those, the backside and the kidneys when you weren't ready for it. What's that feel like?
I mean, it's not enjoyable. Not one bit.
I kind of figured that.
Those are all the things, too, as you walk off to the sideline, things slow down a little bit. The adrenaline starts to come down. You're like, ooh, what's this?
You feel that more in the morning, too, don't you?
For sure.
Sheckelman, the quarterback, with the give. And Jackson gains about 3. Noah Thompson, the Brandon native, brings down Bill Jackson, 5th-year senior back out of St. Louis, Missouri, who averages almost 5 yards per pop.
One thing that UNI's doing a good job of, they've really tightened their splits. They're really close together, so they're eliminating the chance for SDSU to be able to shoot through those gaps and create some penetration, disrupting those guards pulling.
UNI has had 8 tackles for loss defensively, but the offense has committed 3 turnovers today. That's why it's 14-3 Jacks here in the 3rd. Jackson Still going. Boy, the Jacks really strung that out, didn't they, Curtis?
Not only strung it out, but then you see the pursuit. The other defenders getting there to help make that tackle as he's bouncing off tackles.
And you can always see when teams make that a priority and talk about it a lot. It's evident when you watch video.
You're so right. I think so many coaches talk about it, but in practice, do you hammer it through? Is there consequences in practice when it's not being done? Those are the teams that it carries over onto the field.
You can hear the crowd. Panthers 1 of 5 on third downs today. They need 5. 3 men come. Receiver wasn't looking for it, and the ball deflected away, incomplete. McShane lunging to knock that ball down.
Yeah, he's lunging, but he's lunging out there with a giant club. You know, it's like he's trying with one hand to be able to grab it, and then the other, look at that. Yeah, it just bounces right off that club hand. Great effort.
One punt for 30 yards by Noah Pettinger so far today.
Well, and SDSU should be on high alert for a fake here or to get drawn off sides. I mean, 4th and 5, midfield, really nothing to lose here for UNI.
Pettinger's kick will go out of bounds on the near side. UNI wanted no part of a return on that. And they're going to mark it out of bounds at the 11. So that's a 43-yard punt. Terrific end for UNI, and the Jackrabbits start deep in their own territory, up 11 in a moment.
What is generation?
This game on Midco Sports is presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different.
Producer Carolyn Rosinski, director Nate Hoffman, our entire Midco Sports crew with Curtis Riggs. I'm Tyler Merriam. Thanks for joining us on Hobo Day from Dana J. Dykow Stadium, number 2 South Dakota State. A 14-3 lead over Northern Iowa on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard. The Jackrabbits, their 3rd possession already of this 3rd quarter. 2 3-and-outs the first 2 times around. And they'll open up at their own 11. Lawfridge behind Mason in the pistol. And Lawfridge made a nice move to avoid going down in the backfield. Tucker Langenberg, the 2-time team captain who was All-Valley a year ago, makes the tackle.
Well, you watch this play, they know what's coming. Langenberg, he hides behind the outside linebacker, lets the outside linebacker slant inside, and he just sits there and waits for Lawfridge. I mean, it's like they knew exactly the play the Jacks were running there because he just sat there. He's going to come to me. I'm right here. Makes the tackle.
Urbandale, Iowa, Langenberg's hometown.
You look at the roster, and you alluded to this, that a lot of Iowa kids. I would say 80% Iowa kids, or most of them are all Midwest kids.
Boy, awkward reception of the snap by Mason and handoff to Lawfridge, who hangs on for dear life and reaches the 15. And Lawfridge is down. to your point about the Iowa products, this is obviously a total turnover of staff and a lot of new faces, but Todd Stepsis comes from Drake, so he knows the area and recruited a lot of kids from Iowa for the success that they had at the FCS level at Drake. It's just a little bit different here because you have scholarships you can offer athletically, which you can't at the FCS program that Drake was.
Yeah, and I think you'll see as they continue to renovate their arena, they continue to build back up the program, they'll start to get more portal, more drop downs. Now, I mean, they would get that before too, and it didn't mean automatic success though. He's looking at, can I get a core, a lot like SDSU, can I get a core of state kids and then build off around that? And I think they'll see success from doing that.
Lawfridge still being tended to, the standout running back for South Dakota State, who has 75 yards on 18 carries today. We'll have an update when you come back. There is Julius Lawfridge, who came off under his own power. They've been looking at his left knee. He's been jogging up and down the sidelines with head athletic trainer Charlie Miller observing. Good day today for Lawfridge, but that's the worst thing the Jacks could see is an injury to him.
Yeah, I mean, they really struck gold with getting that transfer in after losing so many players.
Mason got popped as he throws a wobbly ball into the wind that is incomplete on third down. And again, Mason was hit as he made that throw. That was Ryan Crandall again.
Watch this, though. He gets hit and still throws as he's getting hit. Now, it obviously alters the throw, but most quarterbacks right here, they would be going backwards, and the ball would probably be a fumble. Whereas Chase is so big and strong, he's able to still try to get something into that throw.
Well, the Jacks with 3 3-and-outs on their first 3 possessions of this third quarter. And Pelham, who had 1 blocked earlier in the quarter, standing at his own 1. Got it away. And making a highlight reel grab of the punt was J.C. Roque.
Well, and again, another defender right there as SDSU's punting. The other, Tyler, UNI has done a very good job. They obviously have something that they've picked up to where the run game, they know what's coming, and then the blitz packages. SDSU, I've never seen them have this much difficulty with really a team that I think we'd both agree on. They should be physically getting after, and they're struggling with what UNI is bringing.
38-yard punt by Pelham in Northern Iowa, who has really dominated this third quarter outside of the gadget play that didn't work for the interception. Begins at its own 47. Play action fake. Sheckelman steps up, throws deep down the middle. It is incomplete, but a flag. Roque, as he tried to come back inside, appeared to be held by Gehring.
Yeah, it's a good call. I mean, this is a good call. Gehring, yeah, he prevents him from getting to the ball here.
First down.
And he's not looking for the ball. If he's turned around looking, he probably picks it off because it's coming right down the middle of the field. You see, he clubs him kind of across the neck there.
Clothesline would give him a job in the WWE, wouldn't it?
That might be his future, the way he flies around the field.
Fourth penalty for 50 yards today for South Dakota State. UNI at the 38. A back to either side of Sheckelman. Now Meemert realigns up back left. Harrison Bay Bowie. And not much there. Wolf Cale Holston had the upper half of his body, and Dawson Ripperda had him at the bottom half. How good is Ripperda?
He's great, but Kobe Pretz is the one that made this tackle for everyone. He steps outside and makes the back have to cut back inside to the flow and pursuit to Ripperda to make the tackle.
Ripperda out of Larchwood, Iowa. 2 times All-State.
Yeah, pretty good football players come out of there.
A lot of good football in that area. And you get to see it every Friday night. Empty set for Sheckelman on 2nd and 10 amid a 4-man rush. Going deep for Roque, just over his outstretched hands. Noah St. Juste the coverage, and it will be 3rd down.
Well, and he makes the right read. He throws a nice ball. It's just it carries a little bit here, but that's what they wanted. They got exactly what they wanted, and man-to-man coverage.
Just listen to this place. Well, the Jackrabbits forced the flag, thinking UNI had moved first.
Ball start.
And it had.
Offense, number 1.
Yeah. Kobe Claiborne's got to be careful here, though. Because when the back goes forward, that doesn't give the defensive lineman the chance to jump off sides, reacting to that, because he could actually go forward and motion out. But Claiborne, you see him watch, the back will move, and he's going, Claiborne's like, hey, I can go too. But they get him because he goes, stops, and yeah, the initial reaction of a play happening.
That was certainly noise-induced.
And Claiborne at defensive end here, look for him on 3rd and 1 to make a play.
He's at the top of your screen. He's in the middle of it. The screen to Jackson is an excellent call, and he has a nice gain. To the 36, Dotterman comes up from his corner spot to bring him down after 7 yards, and UNI looking at a 4th and 8.
Yeah, it's a great call, but it's really one that Jacks are willing to concede. They're saying, we're okay with this because we'll come up and tackle Jeff so far. It's still 4th and long here now.
Panthers are only 1 of 8 today on 3rd downs, but they do have a 4th down conversion on the afternoon. They'll try for another here. They need the 28 of South Dakota State. Pass deflected, juggled, and intercepted. Chase Van Tol with the INT, and then laid a hit on a Panther. And we've got some extracurricular on the Jackrabbit sideline.
Well, and this is Chase Van Tol's fault. Okay, I mean, it's a great play. And poor decision by the quarterback to try to tackle like this. But then Van Tol stands over him and taunts, and there's no flag, and UNI guys see this coming, and they get right there to defend their quarterback, who took a shot trying to go head-to-head with Van Tol there.
Finally, everything has been separated. The crowd just saw a replay of that big hit. That was the ooh you heard. The Jackrabbit coaching staff and the officials tried to get in the middle of it. Here's the hit.
Yeah, and the quarterback, I mean, you can tell he hasn't done much tackling. He comes in head down there, and Van Tol, there's the things we know about him. He's fast, he's strong, and he's not afraid of contact either.
And you can certainly understand the Panther teammates coming to defense of their quarterback.
Well, they all saw Van Tol standing over him.
Mason took a shot down the field. Goring got turned around. Cabral Martin had the coverage. Flag came out. Cabral Martin is trying to argue it's against SDSU, but it will be on the Panther.
15-yard penalty.
I mean, I had honestly forgot Goring was playing. This is the first time we've seen or heard of Goring in this game. It's just the flow of the game has never really been able to get him into it, so it's good to see them try to get one to him.
And that does speak to the depth of the wide receiver room. The Goring had the big game against Mercyhurst. Yeah. We saw what happened last week with Bullock, and then Smith was the standout in the first half.
Well, the coming out party, Jack Smith, yeah, you're exactly right. He's done a great job tonight.
Shekelman being looked at.
Well, I'm sure. They got to be checking him for a concussion there. He took a shot right to the head.
Mason slings it high out in front of Basinger.
I mean, that was like major league, and the guy went by, Euchre goes just a little bit outside. I mean, that thing was flying over there. The running back had no chance to catch that one.
Basinger in there for Loffridge, who, remember, came out on the last series. He is standing up on the sideline with a helmet on. 2nd and 10. In and out of the hands of Jack Smith.
Yeah, and that's one you saw him try to grab and then get back in quick. You just got to catch it. That's the most important part. Catch the ball, and then whatever happens after that, it happens, but you got to make that catch. Good pocket, though, for Chase Mason there. That's one of the few times he's been able to really stand in there and make that throw. Look for a blitz, though, here. They blitzed a lot on 3rd down.
Saw Loffridge briefly in that shot. Basinger, the running back, to the right of the QB Mason. 3rd and 10 at the Panther 36. Mason on a designed keep. We have a flag down as the quarterback gets maybe a couple. Jackson Stortz and Colben Miller on the tackle.
Colben Miller with the stop.
Yeah, and I mean, he had defenders right next to him immediately, so there's some definitely missed assignments there, blocking. A holding call is what it looks like against SDSU.
Yeah, so the question is, does UNI want 4th and 8? Or does it want 3rd and long?
Offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Now this one I'm shocked.
Okay.
Like you had brought this up earlier. I think on the other side of the field would be different. Yeah, you see we just get wrapped around there. But right here, you're saying, I guess, you know, UNI saying they're going to go for it because of the field position. We don't want to give them that chance.
Again, the Jacks only 5 penalties, but it's for 60 yards. There have been some big ones. Mason today, 7 out of 14. Yet to complete a pass in this half. That changes with the screen to Bullock, who gets back most of what they lost to the 38.
Well, and Jack Krebs, a nice job by him. He just sits at home, reads the screen, takes off right away to peel back. Number 2, make that tackle. Good job. Now instead of 4th and 8, they're 4th and 12 here.
And the Jacks will go at the 38 of the Panthers.
It's a really good spot, too, if you have quick kick, you know, because there's no one back deep. You can pin them back.
Mason will throw. Incomplete, threw it out in front of Goring, who dove and couldn't quite come up with it.
That's exactly what we talked about. Too often throwing with your feet.
Yeah.
Right there. I mean, he's trying to throw like he's playing shortstop and throwing across the field. That's a difficult throw. I mean, you got to get set and probably put that one over the top there. But instead, he tries to throw that one on the run. That's one he definitely would like to have back.
Mason clapping his hands in frustration with himself. He was 7 of 9 in the first half. And he is 1 for 7 in the second.
Yeah, you know, and UNI has done a great job of really frustrating the South Dakota State offense.
And this is Shekelman. He's back in at quarterback. Whew. Talk about a tough kid.
Yeah.
The toss to Harrison Bay Bowie. What a hit from Jaden Oliver.
I mean, he threw all of himself, all 6'3" into there. 6'4", just came flying in there.
It is a 1-yard gain.
One thing I'll say about UNI and Sheckelman doing it, the teammates will rally around that.
Sure.
I mean, they'll really see, hey, this guy's in. I mean, he'll do whatever it takes for us.
2nd and 9. This is Jackson. Spins through one man, and then Claiborne just pushes him and pushing him backwards. Well, and the other part, too, about that play that Sheckelman got banged up on, we had joked about it, but you could tell Van Tol's used to carrying the football. I mean, he leveled him.
Yeah, Van Tol, he was one of those where you talk about a running back. But great job, missed tackle, but more defenders there to finish it off.
Panthers are 1 of 7 on 3rd downs. They need 6. Sheckelman 10 of 16, but 2 interceptions. Jackrabbit defense has forced 4 turnovers. Todd Stepsis came running down the sideline at the top of your screen to request a timeout. And during this timeout, here's a special message from our friends at Sanford Health.
Building a career at Sanford Health is about even more than great pay and comprehensive benefits. It's also about doing good every day. Join us to start a career with purpose. Because no matter what you do here, you'll be changing lives.
Third and 6 coming up here for Northern Iowa, who again just 1 of 7 on 3rd downs today. The Panthers 159 yards, the Jackrabbits 181. Going back to what we talked about at the top, Curtis, we said UNI is not built to win a high-scoring game. The way this game has played out has been to UNI's favor, except for the 4 turnovers.
Yeah, perfectly. I mean, it's really played into their style of a football game, and it's frustrating for Jackrabbit fans because you feel like you should be winning by more. But UNI's done a really good job of making this an ugly football game.
2.5 yards per carry for UNI stands out as well. Empty set for Sheckelman. Claiborne from the end position. Sheckelman on the rollout had a man but could not find him. Threw it low for J.C. Roque as he evaded the pocket.
Claiborne is a fantastic defensive lineman. He's a good DN. He's a way better defensive tackle. I'll just tell you that right now from watching. He really tries to get a speed burst going. It's not the same as when he's a yard away compared to when he's 3 yards away.
Claiborne just smacked himself in the helmet.
Yeah. Well, he got pulled down, too, and he really has got one move he's going to be able to do. He's got to remember, he is powerful. I mean, that's one of his best strengths.
Pettinger's first 2 punts averaged 36.5. He again angles it to the near sideline to keep it away from Taylor. The Jackrabbits are arguing where this ball should be marked as far as crossing the boundary, and they'll say the 22-yard line. So it's a 36-yarder.
And good team football. Jack's able to get the stop after not going out and performing offensively.
That's not something Eric Eidsness will be happy about.
Yeah, well, the fans aren't going to be. Everyone, they're so accustomed to success and doing well, people are going to walk out of here frustrated, and win or not, it's still going to be that way, but the Jackrabbits know. They know what's going on.
Smith lined up behind Mason, vacates it in motion, and they'll flip it out to Goring with Smith blocking for him, and a nice gain for Graham Goring out to the 35. That's 12 yards.
Yeah, great job by Jack Smith making the block. Great throw by Chase Mason, and then Goring doing what the play is supposed to do. Get you in a one-on-one situation, and you make the guy miss right there.
That's such a staple of Jackrabbit football, the wide receivers blocking.
Yeah, that was a nice job by Smith. Most just want to block, just stand right there and stay in front of them. It's when you create space, that's so beneficial for that play.
1st and 10 from the 35. This is still Basinger at running back. And boy, UNI with some good interior pressure right there.
Well, it's the same thing that we've been saying. I mean, Goring's coming over to kick out the DN, but then there's Ryan Crandall's right there to fill the gap. You'll see number 6 steps right in. I mean, Goring blocks the DN, but the linebacker's there also.
That is now 9 tackles, 7 solo for Ryan Crandall today. He had 6 stops, 2.5 for loss against North Dakota a week ago. So a terrific start to Valley play for the young man out of Ankeny, Iowa. 3 wides. Basinger the back. Timing pattern, catch made, first down and more for Goring. He ends up at the Panther 40. They're going to mark him back out of bounds at the 49 of UNI. That is 16 yards and a first down.
Yeah, and he catches this one awkwardly, but I'm not sure he had any other choice because it's getting there so fast, and he's just out of his break. Really good timing by the two of them there.
I feel like we said that a lot about Chase Mason passes. You catch them awkwardly.
And, I mean, there's no time to make a decision. It's like instinctively catch.
Tyler Downs, our referee, just announced we have a replay review. One would assume to follow along with the feet of Graham Goring to see where he went out of bounds and confirm the spot of the football.
Yeah, he steps over there and then he keeps going and you're not quite sure, so it's probably a safe, good review session here.
Jackrabbits on the move, up 11. Late in this third quarter of play. So we take another look here at Goring.
Yeah, right there.
It's just hard to tell from those angles where exactly he goes out.
It's hard to be definitive.
Yes.
So, you know, with what they called on the field, it's almost what you have to go with.
While we're looking at this, we can tell you that North Dakota has opened up a 28-7 lead over Youngstown.
The ruling on the field of the player stepping out at the 49-yard line is upheld.
And NDSU's opened up a 24-10 lead on Southern Illinois. We'll keep you updated on both those games up in the state of North Dakota as they go along. Of course, the Jackrabbits are at Murray State next week and then host NDSU, while the Panthers will host South Dakota next week. And they visit Southern Illinois and Illinois State back-to-back weeks.
Yeah,
not easy.
No, not easy. Physical style. I mean, difficult games there.
Lawfridge back in for the first time. Mason fakes it to him on a wide-open Grayton Gannon. Shoved out of bounds at the 23-yard line. That's a pickup of 26 for Gannon, the longest reception of the season for the Eagle Wisconsin product.
And great decision by Mason. That Goring was going deep, and he had about a yard step on his guy, but the better, safer throw was to his tight end and gets a big gain from it.
Jacks at the 23 of the Panthers. And Lawfridge, boy, didn't have much there. Langenberg, who is so good at that middle linebacker spot.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Langenberg and Crandall, we're just calling all the time.
And remember, UNI without its third starting linebacker, Caleb Frazier, today, who suffered an injury in practice on Thursday. So that third spot, they've used a lot of Cole Ben Miller. McShane, who blocked the punt, has not been seen since, so he's been dinged up. Jack's trying to add to this 11-point lead. 2nd and 9 at the 22. Throw back to Gannon. Christensen blocks for him, as does Pepke, and Gannon finds the end zone, and the Jackrabbits add to their lead.
This is a beautiful call. I mean, well-designed play at just the perfect time. They fake a half rollout. They let the flow of the UNI defense go with Chase Mason, and then just throw back to a wide open tight end with two nice blockers in front of him.
Yeah, when you're 6'4", 225 and the small man of the trio.
Yeah, you know, and he does a good job selling the down block, pushing away that linebacker, getting back out away from it then.
So extra point tacked on by Eli Stater. Jackrabbits are 5-0, trying to maintain an undefeated record, and you have a look there at the impressive company that they are a part of. We told you North Dakota State has a 2-score lead, but I mean, it's tough to be undefeated this time of year.
It is. I mean, you look at some of these teams, everyone's going to get the best out of everyone in their conference. We're definitely not going to see this as this continues. Some will play each other, obviously, we know that. But Missouri Valley, it's really difficult to go undefeated just because there's always that 3 or 4 team that can still knock off that 1.
And it's tough to win on the road.
It is, yeah, and it's tough to bring that A game every single week.
Again, so often it's just about making the best of a situation because, like you said, you're not going to play your best all the time.
Well, and you've seen over the years with the Jacks, the depth is so critical. I mean, that's how Tucker Large really was able to get on the field because they were so decimated at positions. Well, not all teams have the luxury to have that much depth.
I'm reminded of a trip during COVID out to Southern Illinois, and Pierre Strong Jr. was hurt, and they figured they'd give this Davis kid a chance.
Yeah, not too bad.
Harrington's kickoff. Fair catch called for and made by UNI's Caden Amagon Suter. The attendance today, 19,342. That is the 6th largest in stadium history, the biggest crowd this season for a South Dakota State home game. And here on Hobo Day, again, a little windy, but we're not going to complain for mid-October. For Hobo Day, this is just glorious for Jackrabbit Nation. And again, another sellout for North Dakota State, and then 2 more home games after that. Jacks are in the top 10 in the country in attendance.
And I would bet a lot of people, if they knew it was an outdoor facility here, they'd be surprised by that.
Sheckelman's pass is caught out across the 40. Tyson Kershaw to the 41 for 16 yards.
He throws the RPO game well. I'm shocked they don't do it more often because that's twice now we've seen that wide open, that slant route that he's been able to connect with.
And something happened to Kershaw on that tackle. You saw him run off, and he's being looked at. Not sure if he got poked in the eye or what happened. So while he is looked at, UNI with a 1st and 10. Jackson shows good patience on that run, but again, the Jackrabbits overcome it. That was Aaron Wolf-Cale Holston, the Gilbert, Arizona product. Here you see Tyson Kershaw, and here's the end of that play.
Right to the back of the head. Yep.
Football is a violent game.
Yeah, the way he's reacting, though, I thought the same thing. Maybe he got some of the black dots from the turf, or he got poked in the eye.
Well, we are through 3 quarters here in Brookings. And number 2, South Dakota State, thanks in large part to 4 turnovers forced by its defense, has a 21-3 lead over the visiting Panthers of Northern Iowa. The 4th quarter on Hobo Day comes your way in just a moment.
Number one, I noticed the improvement in the communication with my family. I was able to hear them better.
(21-3) South Dakota State leading Northern Iowa at the start of the fourth quarter here in Brookings. We may not be in Philadelphia, but this is the city of brotherly love today. For Northern Iowa, number 2 is Aiden Price. For South Dakota State, Andrew Price is a linebacker who wears number 4, and those two on opposite sides of this. Dad and mom are Northern Iowa grads. Dad is a chiropractor, Nate. In fact, he encouraged lifting to both of his children growing up and thinks that's a big part of why they have been so athletically successful. And Grandpa and Aunt operate a family dentistry in the Waterloo, Cedar Falls area. So it's neat to have the Price family. We're told that around 15 different members of the extended family and friends are here to watch this game as UNI sets up a third down out of the first play of the fourth quarter.
Well, they brought in Jackson Daly, the Wildcat look, who he's a quarterback, but he's never thrown it. Jax knew right away it's straight run. They attacked. He had no chance to get any yards on that play.
15 Jackson Daly. Transfer from Arkansas State, has been used periodically as the Wildcat quarterback this year. That was his 11th rush of the season. And now third down and 10, all-out blitz, and Sheckelman throws over the middle, and the catch is made by Aiden Price, but he is brought down well shy of the first down marker by Jaden Oliver, who has had an impressive second half.
Yeah, Jaden Oliver gets beat right away, but he catches up so quickly. The long strides, the long arms to reach out and make the tackle. Look at that. He's beat. Yeah. Look at it. Look at him just eat up ground. Oh, that's great.
What do coaches say? Closed quickly?
Closed quick. You just can't account for length. I mean, that right there.
4th and 3. Six men come. And the pass is incomplete, intended for Kershaw. And that Jackrabbit coaching staff loving it.
Yeah, it would have been tough to catch, but probably the right place to go. I'm sure he's wishing, God, I wish he would have just turned it up there. But nice defensive stop again by the Jackrabbits.
It goes back again to he had to rush himself because of the 6 men coming.
Yeah, they brought a blitz, but it was more the pressure, the push of the defensive line.
So from the Panther 49, the Jackrabbits up 21-3, smelling blood in the water. Mason on the rollout, dumps it out to Goring. Boy, nice move to run through that tackle, and he's out of bounds at the UNI 40 after 9 yards.
Yeah, and good job by Mason just to get him the ball quick. Don't let the play progress and let the defense get there. Just get it to him and let him make something happen. Sometimes the best throws are the easiest throws, and so many quarterbacks struggle with that because they think, oh, I can get that whenever I want.
Jackrabbits shuttle 3 new bodies in here on second down, including Garcia Castaneda, who will join Smith wide left, Basinger the back, and Gustad the fullback in the game. And Basinger for a couple at a first down and move the chains to the 38.
Yeah, this will be good film for Eric Eisnes and the Jackrabbits. Like right there was 3 UNI defenders unblocked sitting there waiting for that run play. It's almost as if, hey, we got this dialed up. We know what you're doing.
Julius Loffridge, who had 19 carries for 76 yards in the first 2.5 quarters, left the game with an injury. He did come back momentarily, but no doubt with a big lead in Basinger. The Jacks trying to get him a little bit of a breather and let him rest up for next week if they can. Mason felt the pressure up the middle and then just simply threw it away.
You know, right now I'm okay with that. Just throw it away, that's fine. In 2 weeks, I would say, hey, run and get us 4 yards there. Run and get 4 yards. Get out of bounds, but still gain us 4 yards, because 4 yards against that defense are going to be critical.
Situational awareness.
Yes.
Jack started with a power I formation out of the gun. They shift, and then Basinger runs up the middle for a yard. So they started with Mason and 3 backs all behind him, then they shift. And some of that is trying to get a formational advantage, but some of that's to put extra things on tape, right?
Well, and some of it's that, hey, they're setting up their stunts and blitzes by our formation. Let's spring it on them late and then try to do it. But John Power still comes right off the edge and unblocked to be able to get to the running back.
Jack's 3 of 10 on third downs. They need 9. UNI 3-down lineman. An all-out blitz, and Goring makes the catch. And he got thrown down. The ball came out at the end of the play, and multiple flags. Joe Hall appeared to horse-collar Goring on his way to the turf.
Yeah, this is a great throw, great route. Great job by Goring keeping his composure, because he just got his head ripped off there. So, why did 3 guys throw the flag and not every guy? Hey, you know, why? I mean, am I the only one that wonders these things?
Defense number 3. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
I mean, we all saw it.
Well, some of them might be looking in another direction, though.
Maybe. You're right.
Here we go again.
But yeah, that's a vicious one there.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, that's one that, oof. You know, I've never seen a player get ejected, but I mean, that's one where he clearly did not try to stop one bit.
Did you ever look out the ear hole?
Mine was from a hit, though, not from someone getting a hold of the face mask.
But it did happen.
It did.
I can't imagine that's a very comforting thought when you realize what you're seeing out of. In the Integra Cooperative red zone. Mason a play fake, and Gustad is wide open. The goose is loose again for a Jackrabbit touchdown.
It's a great job by Jack Smith not trying to block that defender. Great decision there. Really good play. No one saw that coming, and a nice touch pass by Chase Mason thrown to the fullback.
So let us review. Andrew Gustad, a walk-on out of Volin, South Dakota, had to email John Stiglmeyer and request an opportunity just to be a part of the team a few years ago. He has had 7 touches this year. 5 carries on 3rd and short, 5 third-down conversions, 2 pass receptions, both for touchdowns.
Was that a little taunt I think he had, too, pointed back at? And then I think one of his coaches headbutted him coming up. Was that Benedetto? Benedetto headbutt him coming off the field? It's guys like that, everyone gravitates to him,
yes.
and all of a sudden the craziness comes out.
5-yard penalty, play for try.
And you know the best part? He's a civil engineering major.
Oh, I saw that coming. Yeah, not at all. Yeah, you know, and the touch by Mason, it's because, you know, he's really a linebacker that's been moved, or a D lineman, or an offensive line. All 3 positions, one where you don't catch the ball much. So let me help you out with great touch on this throw.
You know what Gustad needs? Cowboy collar.
Oh yeah.
We need the throwback on him. If anybody deserved
Rathman,
it.
Yeah.
That's a great reference. Corey Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Let's drop that one in there. 5-yard penalty for SDSU. So Stater will have to kick it a little further, but he does so without any issue. The Jackrabbits have a 28-3 lead, and Curtis heads up. You can't hurt what... No, never mind.
What's your big picture?
The Jackrabbits, 49 yards in 6 plays. Goring twice with significant catches, and then look at the touch.
Great touch, great finish. Look at the little no. Yeah.
Well, remember on his first touchdown, he went to spike the ball and realized he shouldn't in mid-motion and just kind of dropped it and hoped he would get away with it.
You think he's telling the guys, did you see Benedetto headbutt me coming off the field?
No, he's saying, did you see me headbutt Benedetto? That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Andrew Gustad, they call him Goose.
I got to give credit again to Goring not losing his composure. I've seen so many players in that same situation get up and retaliate right away.
Harrington's kickoff lands in the end zone for a touchback. Well, and like you said, Curtis, some of those things, we talked about it earlier from a standpoint of a quarterback can earn the respect of his teammates by being tough. And things you don't realize are going on outside the program, like in the case of Grayton Gannon being a dad. There are guys that bring teams together, and somebody like an Andrew Gustad does that for South Dakota State.
For sure, and you can tell it's not only with the players, it's with the coaches. I mean, if a coach is doing that, he's pretty much saying, I love coaching this kid. He's great.
Yeah, you're not wasting headbutts to helmets on anybody.
Those are special. Those are special. You save those.
This is Aiden Dunn, the number 2 quarterback who again has been used as a wideout lately, and his pass incomplete, intended for Aiden Price. The coverage by Miles Taylor. Okay, I have to ask. Did you ever headbutt a player?
No, never.
I knew the answer, but I had to ask.
You know, most of mine, linemen, I couldn't get up high enough to them, and quarterbacks and receivers, I thought, we got to save those neurons. So it was never in my repertoire.
You mark off a repertoire on the bingo card. 2nd down and 10. Dunn will throw it out to Harrison Bay Bowie. It's a good block, and he's out of bounds. Noah St. Juste diving near him at the 33, about an 8-yard pickup to set up 3rd and short for UNI. Bay Bowie with 6 receptions this year. 60-year student athlete, played a couple of years at Eastern Illinois. This is 4th year at UNI. They use him and Jackson in the backfield. Aiden Dunn made 7 starts last year, including against SDSU in the Unidome. His cousin Eli was the UNI quarterback about a decade ago. And Dunn hits Jackson out of the backfield. This will be a 1st down and a nice stiff arm from Bill Jackson, the St. Louis native. Out of bounds at the 43, so 10 yards, and the Panthers will move the chains.
Yeah, it's a good, safe play. You see a lot of teams run. They'll go 3 to the wide side, 1 receiver to the short side, and you just swing the back and you run a little drag route that picks the linebacker. It's usually an easy dump to that running back there.
Jackson with 13 receptions on the year. Panthers have 5 different guys with double figures in receptions already this year as Dunn throws the ball away at the feet of the tight end Anderson. It'll be 2nd down.
He had Ullman coming at him full speed. There was no slowing down there. And Ullman's the typical linebacker, 6'1", 6'2", 225, 230 pounds that runs really well for the Jackrabbits.
Ullman supposedly never played defense in high school, so I asked him about that at Mequon, Wisconsin. He said 1 play. There was a Hail Mary they put me in for. It's the only play of defense he ever was a part of as a high school player, and here he is, a team captain, starting middle linebacker, and a pretty darn good one. Dunn will give it to Jackson. And honestly, Jackson did a good job to get 2 yards.
Yeah, he did. That play looked like it was going to be a loss. He just kind of buries in there behind the offensive line.
Kevin Spellman, number 93, in there. Mac Muller, number 98. Muller, a redshirt freshman out of Osage, Iowa, who missed the non-conference. He and Jay Syfor both returning to the Jackrabbit lineup last week. And in part because of that added depth on the interior and the injury to Reese Kirshenman, that's why Claiborne has been moved out to a defensive end at times. Here's 3rd and 8 for the Panthers. Amid a 3-man rush. Dunn's back shoulder throw is unable to be hung on to by Graham Fredrickson.
And not a bad throw. It wasn't. He was throwing with pressure in his face, had to drift away, still put it on the back shoulder. and a catchable ball. That's how that throw is supposed to be right there.
So Pettinger on to punt. The Jacks have 2 men back deep. First time we've seen this look from them in a game. Ball gets downed inside the 20. South Dakota State a 28-3 lead over Northern Iowa on Hobo Day in Brookings.
At Taco John's, we don't put boundaries on flavor.
Welcome back to Brookings. Jackrabbits a 28-3 lead. Curtis, the young man in our picture here at our Sanford Health Injury Report with Burl Valentine team physician is Lofton Ogroski, who is still out, suffered an injury a couple of weeks ago, the wide receiver for SDSU. Now, the Jacks have a lot of depth in that room, and we've seen it, but when he can come back, and the Jacks don't have an exact timeline on his return, he'll be a huge addition.
Well, I know they're really hoping that he's back in 2 weeks because he is a big-time playmaker, and I think he's really impressed with his catch radius. It's like you get it anywhere near him, he's bringing it in. You're right, though. The depth has been outstanding for the Jackrabbits.
See what Mason's done today. He also has 2 rushing touchdowns. He gives to Basinger, who bounces it outside. Look at him wiggle through traffic. Close to a first down.
Well, and a great job by Goring, staying on his block and able to get him an extra 5 yards there. Watch right here. Goring blocks his guy right there.
All right, let it be known, number 43 is back on the field, Andrew Gustad.
I mean, they need a name for him.
Goose.
You know, well, let's get the crowd. I mean, does the crowd know this?
They're not saying boo, they're saying goose. You want to start that?
Yes, I think that's, I mean, we got to get going here on this.
I feel the need.
Yep.
The need
if we knew a marketing guy.
If only.
There's an NIL deal coming up here.
3 yards for Basinger. Keep talking about 2 weeks. Next week, the Jacks are at Murray State. Next game on the schedule. And then, of course, SDSU will host North Dakota State in 2 weeks' time.
It's presumptuous of me to get too far ahead. Caleb DeBoer used to always hate that. We'd be in the GPAC playing, and we'd be playing Dort that week. And I was like, Caleb, hey, we play Morningside next week. Let's move ahead here. And no, would not do it. And I guarantee Dan Jackson won't do it either. But me as a fan, a spectator, everyone else is looking at that game too.
Basinger, a nice run. Out near the 40.
And this was that blocking that you showed like last week at Youngstown, where they get a great down block, they get the offensive lineman. Watch the O-lineman out here. Oh, DBs hate that. They can't stand it because they used to be able to just take him out at the legs, and you can't do that anymore now.
That's that pin-pull system.
Yep.
Will you explain that?
Yeah, we're going to block down on that defensive end. We're going to block down on the tackle. We're going to let our offensive linemen get out around and let them match up with defensive backs and have a little fun out in the open field.
Fun depending upon whose side of the line of scrimmage you are on. First and 10 Jacks at their own 40.
Well, and my favorite of all time, you know this, Mason McCormick would get out there, and you'd see him taking the guy 20 yards downfield and just probably laughing as they're going along. And everyone just loved watching that.
Well, and it is a big deal in the O-line room this year. They count knockdowns, and they have a standings board, and each week they update them. And there is a special, what do you want to call it, trophy that the individual gets to keep for the week if he has the most knockdowns, and he gets to keep it all year at the end of the season should he have the most knockdowns for the entire year.
That's great, because, I mean, that's something that no one else is really identifying with, but it's fast. I mean, it's so important.
Mason's pass incomplete. Sets up third down. And part of it, too, is that it's really hard, and I'll let you speak so much more to this. It's hard to know watching a game live necessarily, because you can't watch everybody, how good exactly somebody was on the offensive line. You can tell certain things, but you really need to go back and analyze film.
Yeah, you do. You're exactly right. It's really the only way to break down, because you don't know if they have a down block, if they're zone stepping, if it's double team to the linebacker, which one's coming off to the linebacker. And saying all that, I'm kind of surprised Chase is still in the game here.
3rd and 8. Screen to Bullock. Oh, what a block. And Bullock on the loose inside the 30. That was Pepke again. The Rapid City product has been leading the charge out in space multiple times today as Bullock goes for 28.
Yeah, Pepke and David Alpers was out there too. You'll see Alpers come in right there, coming across, staying engaged. That's a great job.
They move it forward to the 27-yard line to tack on a few extra yards for Bullock, who now is in motion. Mason off the fake will dump it off to Alpers, and the tight end is upended near the 20-yard line by UNI's Alonzo Morgan III. That's Alpers' first catch of the year. He had 9 a season ago.
Well, and he's done a lot of blocking this year, so he's probably loving, hey, finally, get a little me time there.
Mason threw it to Bullock, who wasn't ready for it. If he was, he might still be running. He did a heck of a job just to catch the ball for 8 yards and a first down.
Yeah, he gets caught kind of out of position with it. Still makes a great catch, but you can see he's kind of like, gosh, dang it. That might have been 6 there. Chase is in still, but Eric's doing a really good job getting the ball out of his hands quick, though.
It's 5th catch of the day for Bullock. And a timeout to Northern Iowa. There is that Jackrabbit coaching booth. That's the lower level of it. And a glimpse at both of the Jackrabbit coordinators there just a moment ago. This timeout by UNI. It's 2nd of the half. By the way, the Jacks have spread the ball around. Mason 17 completions, Curtis, to 8 different Jackrabbits today. South Dakota State about to win its 33rd consecutive home game. That will break a tie with North Dakota State from 2017 to 2020 for the 3rd longest in FCS history. It is the longest active streak in the FCS. NDSU trying to go to 16 today, and they're up big right now. And again, tough places to play.
They are, and the Dakota Dome, tough place to play. And they just about lost one. Northern Colorado, I think, but found a way to win.
Bullock had it in his hands, and it was broken up by Cabral Martin inside the Integra Cooperative red zone. That was a nice defensive play because that almost was 6.
Yeah, and he's fading away, thinking the ball's going to get over the outreach of the DB, when in fact he'd probably be better served with his athleticism too, to just plant and jump up back into it and let the defender come into him. See, jump back into that ball, and he'll be able to get it at a higher point.
2nd and 10.
The receivers and the portal guys at SDSU, they really struck gold, because a lot of teams have struggled getting guys in and getting them to adapt to their systems. And SDSU's had really good success with who they've gotten in, and immediate success.
Well, and some of that, too, goes back to, in the case of Bullock, Dan Jackson's known Bullock for almost a decade. You know, obviously they are Omaha guys, and so sometimes you see, oh, it's grad transfer, yes, but it's not building a new relationship in 48 hours. Sometimes these guys know each other from recruitment from maybe a different school or from 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, I heard the quarterback from Missouri today talk about the portal was like speed dating. I mean, that's what you had, the time you had to assess if I'm making the right choice or if the coach is making the right choice. There, Dan Jackson knows that player already. He knows how they'll adapt. Ooh, Chase is going to wish he had that one back.
Incomplete for Sammy Dressy.
Yeah, that was a nice route, little out and up, and it was open for a touchdown, too, and Chase just missed it.
The Jackrabbits will bring out the field goal.
Going back to your previous statement, where's Chuck Woolery when you need him?
Yeah. They should almost set it up like that. Just, hey, here they are. You guys go in. We're going to ring a bell.
So Stater on. He has missed twice today. But not this time, and the Jackrabbits add to their lead. 31-3, South Dakota State leading Northern Iowa. We'll be back in 2-2.
On Midcoast Sports is presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University. And by Peterson Farms Seed.
Chase Mason, such a terrific story. Hurley, South Dakota product, who again attended Nebraska on a baseball scholarship, and then after a semester said, I think football's my first love. Came back to SDSU and bided his time behind Mark Gronowski. And here he is reaping the benefits of what he has sown. A 6-0 start is less than 4 minutes away.
And he was offered football scholarships out of high school.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he walked into the academy and threw 2 passes and had done 0 football training. He came in for the first time, threw 2 passes, and I instantly called Galen and Grubb at Fresno State and filmed it and said, hey, you guys got to take a look at this. And what they did, so other kids know this, the first thing they did was went to his social media. They looked at his highlights of him playing basketball, playing baseball, looked at what he's engaging in as a human being, and thought, we can't miss on this kid, and offered him right away. They were the first FBS school that did, and then you saw schools like Kansas State come in, wanted him to play tight end. That wasn't appealing to him, and then it was during baseball season. He was hitting home runs every other at bat, and thought he'd do that.
Jackson Daly, the Wildcat quarterback. The left-hander throws down the left sideline, incomplete for Tyson Kershaw. Oliver was all over him, and a late flag comes in. While we sort out the flag, you saw the total yards on the screen a moment ago. In this half, UNI has 60 yards of offense and 2 turnovers. The Jackrabbit defense in this half, remember, UNI had that turnover, had a chance at the 12, down 14-3, and SDSU forced a turnover, and the Jackrabbit defense has been terrific today.
Yeah, the way UNI has played today, when you look up at the scoreboard and you see 3 points, it's somewhat surprising because they have played well, but SDSU's defense has maybe had a little bit of bend, but no break. And you know, it's been difficult to assess at times because they have plays, but most of it has been with their defense. Jaden Oliver is tough sometimes to gauge if it's penalty or not because he's got those long arms on the receivers.
Daly, a very good runner, and you see him get upended there at around the 47-yard line. Noah Thompson came up from his safety spot. There's a look at the other two quarterbacks staying in the game. They're hearing the calls and taking a look at their wristbands as well. Matthew Sheckelman, and number 7 is Cale McPhinia, the fourth-string quarterback.
Sheckelman did some good things, but he's got to get to where he progresses from first read to second read, then take off and run. Just a little more mental development in his game, and he'll start to do some good things.
Nice tackle from the side there by Miles Green on the run of Daly's, but he does pick up a first down.
Yeah, that one could not have felt good. It was right on the hip, too.
There's a look at Green, freshman out of Homewood, Illinois, who was the conference player of the year in his senior year of high school as both a defensive back and a wide receiver.
Well, and you see it more frequently now, freshmen playing right away. I mean, coaches, the attitude is, well, we don't know how long they'll be here. If they're ready to play, let's play them. Let's get them out there, and, you know, it may benefit the player, too. They may be able to use this to move up, and we're going to get as much out of them as we can.
Roster limits are a part of that, too.
Yeah, that, too. Yeah, you don't have the luxuries of as many guys, so you got to play guys.
Daly takes a shot downfield, and who else but Miles Green, we're just talking about him, comes up with the INT. That is the 4th interception, 5th turnover forced by this Jackrabbit defense today.
Yeah, great play there. Just perfect position. Had the third eye, which would be the hand on the hip, and then turned back to look for the ball and goes up and gets it at the highest point, too. Nice job.
First time since October of 21. The Jackrabbits have had 4 interceptions in a game. And the Jackrabbits on offense with a new quarterback. It will be Luke Marble. There you go, Miles Green, the family loving it.
Oh, yeah.
It's great to see the jerseys.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing that these days. They show up, and mom and dad and brother and sister all wearing the jersey of their family member on the field. Luke Marble, the handoff to James Basinger. Worth remembering the Jackrabbits down both Brendan Begeman and Corey Blair Jr. again today at running back. So really, it's the 2 starting running back Loffridge and the backup Basinger. The top 2 options. Your Jacks have a couple of other guys dressed today. But that's pretty much it.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout in Brookings on the Integra Cooperative scoreboard. It's 31-3 South Dakota State.
That's who we are.
Our PS Garage Doors Player of the Game. footwork there.
Yeah, he made some tough catches, was kind of the go-to guy early, and then it kind of seemed like maybe Jack Smith had a little phase, Goring had one, but plays like this right here really saved the Jackrabbit offense when they were struggling to be able to run the ball.
And speaking to your point, just the depth of that wide receiver room, even without Lofton Ogroski, as Marble's ball is juggled, and did he catch that? No. Hit the ground initially, but it was nearly a circus grab by Dressing.
Yeah, it was the right guy. He had about 3 guys open there, but that's his first read. He's just got to. That's tough when that's your first throw. You come into the game and you're throwing about a 25-yard comeback route.
Luke Marble is out of Smyrna, Georgia. That's the northwestern Atlanta suburb. In high school, he earned the nickname Luke the Magician. Redshirted last year at Northern Illinois, where Eric Eisens was the offensive coordinator, and when he returned to SDSU, he brought Marble with him. Whistle before the snap. I don't think they got the play off.
No, it's a delay game there.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
8th penalty for South Dakota State. Do you get the sense that the Jackrabbit offense at times is just their own worst enemy?
I think UNI did some good things today.
Sure.
I think they did some things that Coach Eisnes and his staff's going to go back and look at, like, hey, what were these things that we're struggling with? Because physically, we should not have been struggling with them. So schematically, it'll show some good things. But yes, I do think at times they get it in somewhat of a lull. And they have a lot of good players. And so it's how do we keep all this happy with still establishing what's their core, which is going to be a run game.
It's a nifty catch and run by James Basinger. He ends up 2 yards shy of the line to gain. There is again Eric Eisnes, who is second from the top of your screen. Brian Bergstrom is at the bottom of your screen. You see his head briefly there. He is the defensive coordinator. We've talked so much about Eisnes, but what Bergstrom has brought to this crew, I mean, again, this is, if SDSU holds UNI to 3 points, would be the 3rd time this season in 6 games a team has only scored 1 time on the Jackrabbit defense.
Yeah, and they've really carried, even losing players, that mantra of, I mean, they're just flying around. And they've still built depth at their defensive line. You thought maybe when they lost a lot of players they had recruited, they wouldn't have quite that depth. They still found a way to get that, and it's been a key to their success.
Roque got run out of bounds by Gehring, but we should acknowledge Caden Olivia, the snapper, was down there in hot pursuit, chasing him towards the boundary where Gehring could finally make the stop.
Yeah, you always want a snapper that can run, because usually they can't get blocked. Defense has to stay off them so you can snap and get a free release to get down there.
And Olivia, a veteran, was a starting long snapper at Texas State in 2022, and this is his 3rd year performing those duties for the Jackrabbits. And you only typically say his name when something goes wrong. Like, that's the life of a long snapper, right?
Yeah, it could be a wonderful long career, or it could be one-hit wonder.
Daly, the handoff, and got stood up in the backfield. Casey Larson, who has played so well on special teams out of Woodinville, Washington, number 44. Kind of just gobbled up Amagon Suter, the running back.
Well, and the thing I loved when the offense was out there, Coach Jackson was really trying to say, hey, come on, let's go. Let's get going here. Don't let up because you guys are in now. Let's finish. Let's get moving. And you saw him show some frustration when they had to call timeout or when they got that penalty.
Daly will keep. Still going. A gain of close to 8. And the first Hobo Day football game in the Dan Jackson era goes on the side of the ledger for South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits hold UNI to 213 yards and force 5 turnovers in a 31-3 victory over the University of Northern Iowa. Stats, highlights, and we'll wrap things up from Brookings in a moment. All SDSU on Hobo Day in Brookings.
South Dakota, a state shaped by its people. It's more than a place, It's opportunity waiting to...
When you think back, I mean, not even thinking